Nuke is going to be a lot tougher to achieve against this FORZE squad.
And we saw in the win strike match yesterday, even if you pick it and you do feel confident there, sides who do have superior strategies on that map and are feeling it in terms of aim and clutches are really going to overwhelm you. And the clutch factor for FORZE is something we haven't even discussed yet. Truth is taking the opening damage on B, but he's so far kept FORZE at bay. Marcelius spots out the connector part of this attack, but is unable to dispatch it as Exapower now being flanked by Gruss. This should be an easy conversion by the Norwegian player, and that leaves just 4 remaining for FORZE in this pistol. They've retargeted the B bomb site, but Flit's come up and made a bit of mess on A. He's drawn the rotations back over and thinned out the B defenses.
That kill towards A is actually massive because now they only have 2 players defending. Peeks out wide towards Monster, gets absolutely annihilated. Flit does get taken out towards A. It's all on Marcelius to hold the line. Does he get it? Oh my god, he actually holds that defense all on his lonesome. 3 kills for Marcelius, shuts down the T push, and the first round goes to APEKS.
It was all on his shoulders in the B bomb site, but he stood tall and hit those headshots. 3 consecutive. Beautiful work in the B site and saving that pistol round for his side. This force is still going to come in from FORZE, but because they couldn't get the bomb plant, there are much less rifles than they could be. Just a Galil supporting the scout of Facecrack as pistols are brought forward by the remaining players for FORZE. It's going to be a difficult force to get through, especially with Truth this aggressive on the MP9.
This is very dangerous for both angles. Yeah, that was what I kind of expected because there was already a player down connector, and I think they heard the steps of APEKS rushing forward. So that's a man advantage all of a sudden for FORZE. I think that aggression was really unwarranted there. I mean, I know you want to go for the play, but you are still against pretty dangerous weaponry. The scout tag comes through. Dennis does have the long toilets connection. Shuts down Almazer as well. Gets a double, but they will lose Jerry's. The scout shot is going to whip. Dennis with the pistol, and he absolutely destroys them with an easy ace on the against the FORZE spy.
You mentioned it in the pre-game. He could be that X factor that comes online for APEKS, and we saw it in this round. The FAMAS for 3, and then the Pistol Meister living up to his name with a couple of nice taps at the end of the round. FORZE don't do any economic damage other than a couple of kills, and now they drop down onto the E-code pistols. This is APEKS's opportunity to farm up some cash on these MP9s. Try and boost your own economy because that full buy is arriving in the next round, and you really do have to be ready for it.
Truth getting aggressive. He is kind of he's completely sandwiched in. He needs help but will not be able to get it. Marcelius has the op, needs to fall back. If he drops that op, they have a solid chance here for FORZE, and especially the fact that it's a 4.7k investment that you might lose. Oh my god, what's happening with APEKS? Don't tell me that it's going to go wrong this time. Dennis is trying to recover it, does manage to chime in together with Marcelius to even out the kills. So far, they're rotating towards B. APEKS with the triple spray down. What's going on with these rounds where one player just smashes the FORZE lineup while they're not paying attention?
Looks as though it's just been timing in the majority of occasions. APEKS have gone aggressive at just the right moments in which FORZE are just not expecting these players to be peaking. But now the 3-0 start has gone the way of APEKS, as you would expect after the opening pistol, and they need to look ahead to this gun round to secure their continued momentum. FORZE, that's a missed smoke by Exapower. That is a little bit CSGO'd there. He's going to take severe damage, but it doesn't matter. He's landed that shot on Marcelius and removed his counterpart Orpa.
That's a massive kill to start it off with. They will still play with only 1 A defender so far and just keep 3 towards that B site. With Truth anchoring A long, and it does seem to be the correct read for the time being. FORZE do have that aggressive move towards the B site. However, they are now rotating Dennis up top. And APEKS is actually falling back towards ABC as well. That nade does a lot of damage to Flit though. But Flit still managed to catch out Gruss, shuts him down, and now it's all on APEKS towards that B side. Gets 1, does not get the second, and now Truth and Dennis, can they clutch this one out? Jumps out towards water, does survive without a bullet tagging him up. and is trying to get close range, but XC Power does shut down Truth, and it's all on Dennis on site.
Well,
Jumping on top of site, but will only get the one frag. And the first on the board for FORZE.
and that full gun round not going APEKS's way is not the best sign for their CT side here. It's stretched their economy severely. Marcelius perhaps can drop Gruz a deagle and the rest of the team can pick up pistols, but it does have to be an eco, and potentially FORZE's economic momentum is now going to be allowed to build throughout this map. They need to get through this cleanly if possible to secure that cash build-up and try and get some extra buys in the tank should they end up losing these T-sided rounds. Power is going to be aggressing with his AWP into a multitude of pistols at the moment, and if he's not careful, he could be swarmed and overwhelmed.
He's playing, they're all playing off angles pretty much on APEKS, so if he peeks out wide, he can get easily overwhelmed. There's the deagle peeking him, and without any backup from any of the T's, he has to fall back, but he needs to be very wary of his positioning because he can easily get pushed out. Luckily, there is no big flankers coming out from APEKS. Bomb is going to get planted. Marcelius might get a kill here on Flit, but I think that should be the only thing that they should be able to get. Just jiggle peeking around. Little tag here or there. Okay, Flit, do not continue engaging that one. He's down to 3 HP. He's gonna re-aggress. Dangerous play coming through. You do not want to drop that AK. You want to keep that extra back. I mean, that bomb exploding is probably gonna kill Flit.
It might do. I'm assuming what he's trying to do here is be the perfect bait for his teammates. APEKS know they've hit the multiple tags on him, so perhaps he's just sticking around to try and bait them over and draw them into the attack to recover that potential AK. It's not going to work out on two of the players, but he does end up surviving the bomb with just 1 point of damage taken to the explosion. APEKS are bringing the guns out here in round 6, but it's an MP9 for Gruz and no head armor across the board as you really see this CT cash starting to struggle. FORZE can firmly take control of this T side with a round victory.
Yeah, but they got the most important weaponry, and that is Marcelius on his op. Again, that smoke just not popping immediately. Marcelius goes in aggressive towards connector, shuts down Almaze, a man advantage. Never mind. Phase crack does shut down Akaz. Still a man advantage coming through, though, in the end. Peek out wide. The spray is just going to completely whiff from Flit. And it's now a 2-man advantage for the squad of... Never mind, 1-man advantage for APEKS.
Power's done well to get a kill back there. Still going to be difficult. If possible, he needs to find a way to bait the second player onto the A site and then rotate in through connector. I don't know whether utility commitment is going to be enough to do it though, or whether the bomb on the back of Jerry just has to suck it up and make the long rotation. In fact, it's Marcelius who's rotating down into the B-bomb site at this point in time. It looks as though Dennis is going to trade places with him, and actually he's going back up to A now. So if it was Power who rotated down into the B-bomb site, if he went through connector now, they could overwhelm the bomb site 2-on-1 if they get the timing right. The issue perhaps is going to be that time factor though, as it's just so limited for FORZE.
XC Power is just trying to lure them back, get them towards the A site. It worked. They did drag 2 away, and Gruz is very low towards that B bomb site. So if Jerry takes him down, that should be an easy take. The smoke coming out is actually a very nice attempt to try and bait them out, but Gruz, close range, will peek in, drop the bomb, and that is the round 1 for APEKS. Excellent play coming out from Gruz. Tries to drop XC Power after the timer, but just in general, waiting for that bomb to get planted. No reason to peek the bomb planter while the time is that low, and they win the round. FORZE played with the time a little bit too long, and it bit them in the ass.
That was really the crucial factor of the round. That play would have worked out from FORZE if they had an extra 20 seconds on the clock, but they had no time to clear out that B bomb site and find the low HP player, and there's just nothing you can do when you have to commit to the bomb in that scenario. So it is going to be a CT round for APEKS, and a mighty fast flick from Marcelius to put Exapower to an early grave. APEKS now perhaps starting to wake up on their CT side and fire on some more cylinders than they were previously. All still remain for the CTs as FORZE once again have to fight from a man disadvantage.
That was a pretty nasty flick there from Marcelius, who does look to start off nicely in this half so far. There's going to be an evening out of the score though, 4-4. Right now they really do like stacking that B site together on the side of APEKS, with Marcelius just anchoring, the B site with Marcelius just anchoring that A site completely solo, playing the information game, and it does seem very likely that they're going to push towards that B site. They will shut down FaZe Crack though. Molly's flash is coming over, but they need to start getting these opening kills. Jerry jumping through is completely blinded, gets behind Dennis though somehow, and it's all on a 2v2. Almazer behind the pillar will get taken out. Flit is still available though. It's Flit versus Truth and Marcelius, but does he expect Marcelius in heaven? No, he does not in time, and Marcelius peeks out, shuts down Flit, and round number 5 on the board for APEKS.
And now we have the opportunity to talk about our partners over at Hellcase. If you use the promo codes on the screen, MaltaV and MaltaV15, you can save more and grab what you deserve. APEKS, that was a hard-fought round on the B bomb site, and to be honest with you, FORZE, I don't think they expected such a hefty stack in the site. Almazer just gets caught with a nade in hand, and perhaps if he had his gun out, that would have been a different engagement. This time, Marcelius has missed his opening flick, and it's going to be on Dennis to try and find the opening frag. He's caught them off guard in playground, but he's not been able to convert just yet. Now he's dropped the bomb and put APEKS in a great spot. Jerry will get it straight back though, and Truth, he could still reply for another, but it won't happen at the moment. APEKS, if Marcelius whiffs this shot, they have to back away.
But Marcelius, he's not going to whiff those shots. He gets another one for it. I mean, he's been amazing so far and a real linchpin for APEKS. Peek out wide from FaZe Crack. He's going to get double peeked by APEKS. And they're just all spread out and playing solo games right now on FORZE. Trying to get that opening pick with their defaults, but it just doesn't seem to pay off so far. There is going to be Flit securing a kill. However, there are a lot of CTs looking into his direction. Towards long, it's going to be an op battle coming through between Ecstasy Power. Oh, gets tagged while jumping. Marcellus gets taken out. Akaz gets shut down by Flit with a great double. Flit is down to 29 HP though, and Ecstasy Power down to 11 with the flank from Toilets coming in. How is he gonna plant that bomb? Does he expect a player behind him? Oh, jump peaks does spot him out, and that's gonna be a pretty big nade coming through. Does get rid of Ecstasy Power. It's a 1v1 situation. He does expect him to be towards jump up, and he does manage to win that duel against Flit. I don't know how he loses that duel, especially starting off with you know, a couple of AK shots towards Gruss. Maybe did not have the perfect vision coming through, but they will win the round and save the op.
With the fire rate of the MP9 against low HP players is absolutely wonderful. He wins the first fight with the nade alone. That's the low HP AWPer. If Exapower had planted a few seconds earlier, perhaps he would have been in a safer position. And as soon as he just spots that target, the bullets from the AK can't come through quick enough to kill him, as the MP9 punishes the low HP player, and APEKS pick up a 6th round on the CT side. It's FORZE calling a timeout as their economy has never really bottomed out, but it's never been in a perfect scenario, and perhaps utility is that missing factor for FORZE that would allow them further into these bomb sites.
I think just dodging Marcellus is probably your best strat here. That opera, I mean, the peaks towards Fountain and everything, he's been a very dangerous opera so far. Likes to be aggressive. But yeah, the utility factor does definitely play. And again, a full force up from FORZE. They have 3 smokes and 2 flashes, and that is everything that they have in the bank. However, APEKS don't have a lot either. They have a little bit of utility, weaker weaponry, 2 kits, and no money left in the bank. So this is still a very dangerous round for APEKS. If they get taken out here, they will be forced on an eco themselves.
Oh, I just wish FORZE would play together a little bit more. It seems that it's always these solo peaks that are being punished at the moment by APEKS. They're just ripping apart these one-on-one engagements, and then FORZE are always fighting from a man disadvantage on the T side. They stack B early, APEKS, find an opening kill, and now they can spread out more firmly across the map as it's going to be a more even engagement on either side. A is the target here for FORZE, and Marcelius peeking long might just miss out the timing if he's not careful. Exapower's taken him down, and now the A execution has to come through.
They peek white themselves right now on the CT side. FaceCrack gets one, but gets taken down by Dennis. Will Dennis be able to defend this? Of course not, because he doesn't have an op to shoot through the boxes on site. Towards long, you don't really want to peek into XSE Power because he is very dangerous. You need to actually smoke off long with it, and I assume that they will, because you want to force that op to push in close range. It's all on Almazer towards site. Is going to lose the duel, and now the bomb is going to get defused. XSE Power is not in a position to defend the bomb plant, and it's going to be an easy defusal. This is completely failed on the side of FORZE. That defense was absolutely terrible.
I mean, they're just getting wrecked in the gunfights at the moment. FORZE, the firepower is completely missing. That was just dry peaks from the CT side. They walked in one at a time and just won every fight they could have. A really dire 3-on-3 to lose because they just have no impact. Any player on that FORZE site defense can do anything at all. And APEKS, who were the underdogs on this map and are the underdogs in this series, are performing much better on Overpass than I had initially expected.
Yeah, it's Dennis has also woken up a little bit. It is actually very close between the two sides in kills, like incredibly close. So the rounds, they usually do end it up in like a 1v1 or a 1v2 situation. That's why the economy of APEKS never flourished so far, and with the bomb plant coming through, FORZE can constantly keep buying up with a max loss round bonus. So they just need that one win to turn this one around and get a couple of rounds in a row themselves. But there's Marcelius. He's going to shut down XSE Power, and another opening for the star opera of APEKS.
Amazing work from Marcelius so far today on Overpass. FORZE just in trouble on this T side. They look almost out of their depth and are really struggling against APEKS, who are a side themselves who haven't had much luck recently on this map. A 16-10 loss to Na'Vi Jr., 16-8 loss to Arviz, and their 2 recent wins were incredibly close as well, 19-17 and 16-14. Those were all in July, so it must be the case that APEKS have gone away and done some work at the start of August on this map, because they look much, much stronger today.
It's going to come down. Can Truth hold the line here? No, he cannot. FaceCrack does get that opening kill so that they can push towards the side. Marcelius plays a really risky game right there, trying to walk through the smoke gun. FaceCrack does the exact same, but it works for him. The safe call will be made by APEKS because their money is absolutely in tatters. And finally, FORZE will be able to take another round away from APEKS.
And it might just be enough to force the eco from this APEKS side as well. They have 2 rifles and they're going to get minimum loss bonus as a result of this max streak. So I'll be interested to see what they do actually bring forward. Arquez is probably going to be able to drop pistols if nothing else, but it might even be a rifle that he drops over and 2 more players try and force up onto Deagles and Armor to deny any FORZE momentum. If they can take that rifle from Gruz away, that would have been huge, but the one on Arquez will do, as now he'd have to fully reinvest to put another rifle on the board. I don't think you can justify buying here for APEKS, but conversely, they're on min loss bonus, so Marcelius and Dennis, they'd have to double eco anyway.
true, but APEKS, well, he did have 4K, so he could have probably dropped them next round anyway, if they managed to keep anything alive. But they're going to force up on APEKS, except for Marcelius, who is going to keep 1,300 in the bank account so that he at least has an op in 2 rounds if necessary. But this is a very crucial round to win for FORZE, because if they win this one, they're most likely going to be on 5 to 7, and that is a reasonably respectable score so far. If they manage to make it to 6, that is definitely worthwhile on their T side.
Look at this early presence from APEKS. Aggressive up B short, double man ready to watch connector. It's very cognizant of this FORZE playstyle, but if Gross falls early on, they're in trouble. Good thing he's found a double kill and could even get the triple bomb drop. FORZE can't recover it, and they've been read like a book. Flit can reply with an opener, but this rifle and 3 deagles can still eviscerate this attack as FORZE are walking into a huge stack.
Yeah, there's going to be the flash. Is it going to be on time, though? So close range. Is going to lose that fight against Flit. The nade does get rid of Flit in return, though, but they now know that there's a player towards water. But they do not expect Marcelius to peek short. The op close range is going to have to take care of 2 deagles and is going to lose the fight because Dennis is the pistol meister. And with that, they're going to convert the round. 8 rounds for APEKS and completely shut down FORZE.
Gross finds maximum impact with that AK and immediately denies the FORZE streak. The deagles and the rifles, they get it done down on B, and it was the perfect read from the APEKS side. They call it beautifully, but FORZE can still bring rifles and utility forward into the next round. They're going to be doing just that, and despite heavy commitments on B in consecutive rounds from APEKS, they're not deterred. This time they're going faster towards the B site are the T's, but unfortunately for Flit, he's not been able to find an early kill. He does have short control, but it's not quite safe for FORZE to walk into the B bomb site.
Not exactly, but they do have very aggressive A defense on the side of APEKS with the 3-man toilet stack, which is terrifying if you head that direction. However, they are going to go for the quick boost towards barrels, it seems. Spot out if anyone is there. Molly, the close monster area. Op shot's going to whiff, but that might pull him back. APEKS does take down face crack, and Flit moved up a little bit too late, but they are getting pretty close towards that monster area. They're double downing on monster right now for APEKS, and APEKS is actually getting aggressive together with Gross. They might just walk right into ecstasy power. Spots 2 players, shoots 1, but does not get 2. It's not a double pump shot op, so unfortunately will not be able to get the second player. Nice little peek in there, but it was a 1-for-2 trade, so it opens up the site. There is a flank coming up from connector. Marcelius is close towards site, and Almazer is going to get executed by Truth. They're walking towards site. Jerry needs a little bit of help from Flit, and that Molly is going to try and get him off of the bomb. Flit does get rid of Dennis, but it's all on Jerry. 21 HP, trying to win that fight against Marcelius, but Marcelius, he ain't losing these fights at all. And another one. That is 9 on the board for APEKS. That's looking like a very good half so far.
They are really starting to pull away on this CT side now, and FORZE, at the end of that round, they just had no utility left. The 3 players remaining, just with no flashes or smokes, didn't want to walk into the B bomb site dry, and that meant that there was loads of time for the APEKS flank to come through from A and dispatch that execution. FORZE have been able to buy AKs virtually every round in this half despite their continued losses, but they are failing time and time again to make meaningful impact with the weaponry. Marcelius has been great at finding these opening shots and just pitching the early advantages, and really the game plan from FORZE just has to be to avoid him early on.
Flit's actually on 14 frags so far. They've won 3 rounds, but he still managed to get 14 kills. Has done his absolute best so far to try and turn these rounds around. Unfortunately, has not succeeded, and Face Crack's just gonna get shot through the smoke, traces the bullets, and Marselius gets a kill in return. Jerry is also down to 19 HP. These are the kinds of moves that you just can't do against a star opera like Marselius.
And we mentioned it in the pregame, it's going to be the battleground of the AWPers on overpass, and those CT AWPs, if the player is on form, if he's hitting his shots, the CT side is virtually unstoppable with an effective AWPer in their arsenal. It's 3 men stacked in A for APEKS, as they appear to have read this execution perfectly now, and they await FORZE the aggression into the bomb site. Dennis has actually just pinged down Flit immediately, trying to take an anti-flash position, and it's a 3-on-3 attack in the site. Marselius has taken down Exapower, and FORZE, they really are struggling to find a way in.
Yeah, it's all on Jerry, but he's going to lose Marselius with the triple in this round. And you can see why FORZE have such a low win rate on overpass. 36%. It's their lowest win rate of all the maps in their pool. And yeah, APEKS really are benefiting off the fact that it seems that FORZE have pretty much no solid strats on the T side here. I mean, most of them are dry peaks trying to win a duel, and they just completely fall flat against the individual prowess of APEKS in this round.
A lot of the time, FORZE are getting it to late round situations as well, but they're just losing clutch after clutch to this APEKS side, as Marselius is lucky to be alive. Eventually, the nades finish him off, and FORZE, they're able to punish that boost successfully, but there are still 4 rifles alive on APEKS, and as they flee quickly into the B site, it's 2 early defenders with rotations well on the way, but Gruz has found 2 with his AK. However, the remaining defenders have been overwhelmed. The 3 players from FORZE now need to find 2 rifles if they want a 4th round.
Dennis close range. That is a nice execution. Tries to spray down through the smoke, but does eventually get rid of Jerry. Close range XC with the Deagle. Gets one. Is going to re-peek, which is not really the ideal thing to do when you already have the bomb down, and is most likely going to rush towards Monsters, see if he can get anything done. It's going to be the smoke diffuse. Pros don't fake, and Truth should get that diffuse. Oh, that would have been sick if he got the 1 tap, but unfortunately will not succeed, and that is 11 for APEKS.
Dominance, it looked like it might have been slightly closer at the start of the half, but APEKS shut the door on every impactful round for FORZE, and despite Flit's best efforts, it's really just been domination from these core 3 players, Dennis, Marselius, and Gruz, just going absolutely insane for APEKS on this CT side, and they are 1 away from converting the 12-3 half. It's been a nightmare on overpass for FORZE, and I struggle to believe they'll get much done on the CT side as well if Marselius continues to hit shots like this.
Yeah, XZ Power has been losing pretty much every duel against Marselius. Flit now gets caught out while he tries to go for another solo play flank towards B, see if he can get a pick, but it's just every single time they try to go for the spread play or they go for the straight up duels, they just get outplayed by APEKS. Nothing seems to work right now, and with only 3 players left against a full APEKS squad, it is going to be tough to break this one. If they manage to get on site with both kills, they definitely do have a shot, but they have to still walk past Marselius first.
He's waiting, hungry for more kills in the round. He's whiffed the first shot onto Jerry, and the second is too many for him to miss, but Truth has got 2 of his own and left Jerry now in a 1-on-3 scenario. Orp at his feet and bomb on his back, but a player to his front that he's not yet rooted out, and that's bullets in his back to contend with. He's found a 3rd shot necessary in the round, but 2 more players on just 14 HP. How likely is this scenario? He's found the first, but Gruz doesn't expect the close positioning, and he shuts it down. APEKS, a 12-3 dominant CT half. If they win the pistol, we are going to be on nuke in record time for our playoffs.
I would definitely not have expected Force to get shut down this heavily. I mean, Ecstasy Power has had the op multiple rounds, but every single duel against Marcelius he has pretty much lost. So that is pretty painful to watch. However, they are now on the CT side if they win the best. What?
Yep, the odds from our partners over at LootBet definitely favoring APEKS now with that 1.62 to FORZE's 2.2. They don't guarantee this will go APEKS's way, but that's actually a really worthwhile bet putting on. They're virtually guaranteed to win at this point, and 1.6 odds is pretty good.
Yeah, that's insane. That doesn't seem like it should be right. Yeah, I mean, there's of course still a chance for FORZE, but they have to mount a massive comeback in this half. They do start it off nicely with Jerry getting a headshot towards Truth. And they're kind of boxed in on sight. They're being flanked from multiple angles. Luckily, Marcelius does hold one of the flanks. It is still a man advantage coming through for the side of FORZE, though. And they're trying to group up. Tap fight. XC Power is going to lose that duel, but they are pretty wounded here on the side of APEKS. And now they're continuing the tap fight. No one's planting the bomb. It's all on Marcelius 1v3 with the USP, and but he doesn't really have a plan here. He turns his back towards short, gets taken down by Flit, and that is the first round of the half for FORZE.
And perhaps the odds we saw slightly being justified now as a breath of life is granted to the FORZE CT side. Absent a bomb plant in the pistol round, APEKS, if they wanted to force into this one, they would have very little available. So it looks like they're going to eco through the second round and look for the guns in number 18 up next. These SMGs desperate to hunt as much cash down as humanly possible in this round.
Yeah, that pretty much is what it comes back to. Close range XC Power with that SMG. He's gonna try and go big, but only gets the one. And now Flit is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's gonna get pushed from multiple angles. Right now they peek him, but does he expect APEKS to be that close? I think he did have an inkling, but APEKS still executes him with the Glock from that range. And they managed to get 2 kills with Glocks pretty much only. And that's already massive for APEKS. That's a lot of damage dealt, especially because they're going to get a full buy next round with AKs. Ooh. On top. Jerry will fall next. And what is happening here, FORZE? Why is their defense so lackluster all of a sudden against Glocks?
Well, they read the flank, but face crack, because his opponents have no armor, he's able to clean them both up. But only one rifle is saved. That means M4s can't be brought out by FORZE in this round on a couple of players unless they're dropped over. Facecrack can save one, but Flit's got to go down to an SMG, I think, here. Not really where you want your highest fragging player to be. He eventually picks up a rifle instead of utility. APEKS, this is a good chance for them. If they can burn out these CT nades, play a slow round here, they have a great chance of winning.
It is going to be XC Power finally playing that CT op, whiffs the shot, and will fall back towards a long immediately. Both sides, of course, went for the full investment right here, and it is going to be a tough one to hold for FORZE because their utility is not as great as they would have liked. And it's still a little bit scary with the way that APEKS has been playing so far. Very dangerous playstyle coming in from the Norwegian side.
Well, the CT side has held on to their utility rather well, and Exapower's found an opening kill with his AWP. So there's a chance FORZE still can survive this round, especially if Flit's going to continue to frag. AKS takes him down, but he has been dinked, and that AWP from Exapower, it's awake on the CT side. Marcelius has taken it down now, but the rotations are coming through from the B bomb site. Facecrack is on the way up, and Jerry is already here with the second M4. The bomb on the back of Marcelius needs to find a way in, and I don't think there's a gap in that smoke to be exploited, but Jerry's found one, spots out the shadow, and leaves Truth isolated in the 1-on-3.
gonna go for the exact same re-smoke, but FaceCrack peeks out wide, and FORZE get themselves their 6th on the board. It's gonna put APEKS on a pretty weak buy. However, they were on a very weak buy the round before, so you still have to be pretty damn careful if you're FORZE here, because you are up against the Pistol Meister, and Marcelius is also not too shabby on that deagle himself.
Absolutely correct. Shots have been hit pretty much all day by Marcelius and Dennis combined. So with these pistols, they are going to be lethal forces perhaps in round number 19. The Molotovs slow their advances into B short, but eventually I never really understand why Molotovs get extinguished so late, but never mind. They decide late to go in quickly and they are chewed to pieces by the rifles of the B-bomb site. Marcelius can get one in reply, but no more, as the pistols find not a bomb plant in this round. And FORZE bring the gap down to 5, but APEKS have another chance to extend it as they bring the full rifles out, and AWP is now in the hands of Marcelius.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier to reposition yourself on the CT side up than on the T side on overpass. Of course, doesn't mean that it's not possible, but you do have those quick angles to peek and fall back from immediately. Almazer so far is only on 4 frags, so he's had a pretty weak performance so far. Hopefully a couple more rounds on the CT side will actually wake him up. He's being used as a stepping stone right now for ecstasy power, so you know, at least he's being a nice little stool.
Face crack. Great opening kill to find for the CT side. And APEKS, are they starting to slow down a little bit in this second half? They're yet to win a round, and with a man disadvantage, they might struggle through this one as well. Flit and Jerry, they need to find kills here. Even if they die, frags must be found. If Flit gets overwhelmed for nothing, it's all over. But instead, he finds 2. Massive impact. 4-on-2 situation now for APEKS to fight back from, and he's repositioned. Can't get the kill, but secures the info that APEKS haven't quite rotated into the B bomb site, and FaceCrack is the man who now has to be careful. He only needs to find 1 kill here, but he has to get 1 low HP player and converts a Kez as well. 8th round on the board for FORZE, and APEKS might be starting to sweat now.
Yeah, Flit's on 22 frags as well. He's been absolutely playing out of his mind this map, trying to convert this, pull this one back in the FORZE's favor, and it's looking closer and closer with every round we get. This is going to be another semi-force up for APEKS. They will have to play that pistol game again. Still got to be a little bit careful, but it is definitely doable for FORZE to convert, to keep going with their streak right now.
Power backing away from the early angle and spotting out that these pistols are rushing him down. So he gets the wider peek and finds the wall bang. 2 for 1 with the shot and takes down Gruz as well. Just Truth and Dennis still have to walk into his crosshair. He's hungry for more kills in this round, and APEKS, they might even back away at this point in time. They've got 1 minute and 20 seconds to work with, and I'm not sure they want to walk into this AWP.
Yeah. Boost on towards site. Almazer does get himself a single. Jerry got the other one, but excess E-power, once he turns on towards that CT op, he feels a lot more alive. Look at these 2 shots coming in, especially the first one is like a close angle shot, nice collab, but this one is really nicely done before he gets shut down from the player pushing forward. Great play coming in from FORZE, and they will get themselves 9 rounds so far, a lot more than I would have initially expected. Maybe those odds were actually correct, because FORZE have been turning up completely. Oh my god, Gruz gets absolutely destroyed by ecstasy power, and a man advantage just like that again for FORZE. What APEKS did to FORZE in the first half, FORZE are now doing all onto APEKS.
It looks as though APEKS have read this heavy connector presence well, though. They've sent the majority of their players out A long, and that means that it's Jerry, the man alone, who has to win his engagement in the bathrooms if FORZE want to hold on to this man advantage. He's found Dennis, so even if Marcelius picks him off, it's still the advantage to the FORZE side here. They know there's 1 player on short, but he's been taken down, and they know the positioning of the remaining APEKS players. Where are the rotations to the A bomb site? That is my question. as they're going to allow APEKS the free plant here and play for the retake. It's so confusing that FORZE haven't rotated.
The fact that Flit is all the way towards playground as well, flanking them, so they'll just probably play for the 4 versus 2 retake is the call. They just want to make sure that they don't get pushed. I mean, the only angle they could get pushed from would be if there was still a player towards Monster. They're going to try and go for the very aggressive plant, and it's actually a nice call to be made, but they are going to get sandwiched from multiple angles.
Ooh.
That was a uncharacteristic whiff from Marcelius right there. Gets completely bamboozled, whiffs the shot, gets taken out, and FORZE will get themselves into the double digits.
I think he's just not quite ready for a FORZE player to be there in the round, and that is 10 for the CT side. APEKS haven't won a round on the T side yet, and they might be starting to sweat a little bit after all the work they did as the CTs. They can still bring AKs out, so FORZE are still not safe, but they have done well to bring it as close as they have. Even if this does end up as an APEKS victory, the comeback is going to mean so much for the confidence of FORZE in this series.
Yeah, they're gonna get aggressive right now. Smoke comes in from Dennis, a little bit jiggling around with his utility to find his smoke, but it does seem that they're gonna go for a quick execute towards that B side. 5 players towards Monster. Almazer is in B short, so this is a pretty good linchpin right now. Decent nade damage coming in from Face Crack, and the spray down gets rid of Gruss. That's a man advantage. They know that he's there, but they're all grouped up. He's gonna throw the smoke. There's Jerry towards Water as well. Almazer peeks out wide, is gonna leave his angle on site. APEKS is gonna get shut down, but all of a sudden it's all on Flit. He doesn't pull the trigger, and Truth turns around, shuts down Flit, and they manage to take the round. Oh my god, he tried to be too sneaky beaky.
He wanted the double lineup, but he over-gambled. They knew he was actually going to be coming through on the flank because the last player from APEKS spotted him out before they even moved into Monster originally. So that flank was always going to be predicted by the APEKS side, and FORZE, they looked at each other on either side. They should have been aware of that one, and it's really unfortunate, but you have to commend Truth. He just triple entried with that AK in the B bomb site, just dominated everything, and without that play, APEKS don't get the round. FORZE aren't out of things yet, but they are now at much greater risk than they were in the last round.
There's going to be a reasonable stack towards that B side. The bomb is still down in T spawn, though. So if, for instance, Dennis gets taken down towards the playground, which is very likely right now against Flit, they could, they need to rotate AKS back to grab that bomb, and this is absolutely a dangerous angle from Flit. It could backfire completely as well, because he has no read on them passing through towards that A side. Now he does hear the step jump and the molly smoke getting used, so he knows that there's a player nearby, so could be able to shut him down if he gets towards the connector fast enough. There, he does spot him out. Dennis gets taken out. A man advantage now for FORZE, but doesn't matter. They're pushing towards the B side, close range. Peek out wide. They shut down the B defense so far. Luckily enough, Jerry does chime in for another one, but it is 2 versus 3. And the money situation for FORZE is pretty problematic. XC Power and Flit, are they fast enough on the rotation to try and go for this defense, or are they just going to let it slide?
I think they have to commit to this one. Their momentum would just be completely dried up otherwise. Exapower has to land this shot, and with Marcelius fighting him, this could be overpass going the way of APEKS. It takes one dominant play from Truth in the B bomb site to start scoring for APEKS once again, and now they hang on the precipice of victory in this first map. It was a valiant effort from FORZE, but unless they can pull off the heroics with this force buy, APEKS are going to convert overpass and head into nuke with a 1-map advantage.
It is still not over, of course. XSE Power on that op. He needs to make an opening kill because, well, they just straight up need it right now. He's going aggressive towards that B short. Is anyone going to peek him? I doubt that they will go straight in for the peak. This is dangerous for both sides because Ecstasy Power doesn't whiff too many shots. Gets a kill, opening frag in for FORZE, and that is immediately the call from APEKS to rush A long aggressively, which could be a good call. However, Ecstasy Power is already heading towards that A site, and Marcelius finds Flit with his back turned. This is a pretty nice move from Ecstasy Power, close range. Will tag Gruss, but Gruss doesn't peek wide after that tag. Luckily, Almeza does peek in, gets the shutdown onto Gruss, and will even be able to fall back. Marcelius, however, does spot out the arm. Does he get the shot in? He's trying to get the catch onto Almeza. Face crack. No, actually, Almeza. So it was Truth and Dennis that both got a kill in return. Ecstasy Power and Almeza, the last two standing. Marcelius actually knew he was there because he kept jingle peeking him constantly. Truth does have the bomb on his back, though, and it is going to be a 2 versus 1 situation. They're both spread around, both picking up one of the sites. Where is Truth going to head? He's going towards the B site, which is going to be given away to, well, Ecstasy Power holding that cross. And he will not whiff the shot there. Ecstasy Power with a great round coming in for FORZE, and they managed to at least take another one for their troubles.
They stay alive at bare minimum, but they have to get through this next round. Still, it's never safe. One loss gives map points to their opponents, but APEKS, they're actually going to take the economic round here. They're going to try and buff up their own cash a little bit and just bring pistols and armor forward. Jerry's only on an MP9, so this could be his opportunity to farm up a little bit of cash for this FORZE CT side, but they can't be affording to lose players in this round. It would be so expensive up against the full guns of APEKS that they need at least 3 players to survive, and Truth just gets overwhelmed completely. Almeza won't find any kills until his nade comes through, but that is a vital reply. They really can't afford to be losing much more on this FORZE side.
Yeah, the money is completely in tatters. Spacecraft playing the gap in the smoke, gets a double, falls back, and that hopefully for FORZE should be the round pretty much on lockdown. Marcelius and Dennis, they're gonna push forward. Marcelius is down. Dennis is a god on the deagle, but can even a god successfully take this site? And unfortunately will not win the duel against Almeza, who survives with 10 HP, 12 for FORZE. This might go the distance.
4 players survive. Jerry can get a rifle. 14, 12. This is the key round. This is the one. APEKS, you can't lose this. If you want your pick and you want to deny the comeback, you have to win here. It must be done. Otherwise, it's a limited buy in the next round, and FORZE are looking to tie up that scoreline. A potential momentum swinger at this point, and APEKS, they might just know it. Marcelius' AWP is aggressive to B, but that nade should sink damage. It only finds Gruss for 20, and they're going to wrap into this B bomb site.
Oh, Gruss is heavily tagged. 2 nades and a couple of bullets as well. They're going to go... They wanted to go for the boost, but Gruss almost gets taken out by a nice 3rd nade. God, he must hate utility this round. Unless he...
Still going to go for it?
Yeah, it seems they are greedy for it. Flit does chime in, and he is playing that A linchpin flanking the entire time. Ecstasy Power, he smells it from a mile away, shuts him down from heaven, and will even rotate back towards that A site. And it is a 2-man advantage for FORZE right now. Will they actually be able to turn this one completely around in their favor? It's so close.
Gruss only on 8 HP. It's a headshot angle anyway, so it doesn't really matter what health you are. If you take that engagement, you're likely to just get tapped away by the CTs, I suppose. So he tried to make the best of a bad situation. It didn't work out, but Truth has spotted out the positioning of Jerry, not landed any damage, and time being eaten away. That gives away that this is the B execution. The AWP jumps down, and Exapower's punished for that decision. At least it eats a little bit of time up with Marcelius falling. Almeza picks off Truth, and Facecrack takes AKES. It's 4 surviving again for FORZE, and they are 1 away from the tied scoreline in the first map of our quarterfinals.
And the pause comes in for APEKS. I mean, this is pretty much as big of a pause material as you can get. They will have themselves a semi-small little buy, but they should save up to try and get themselves 15 to 14, most likely, because they're getting absolutely crushed by these aggressive defensive, like FORZE, when they were playing on the T side, they tried to do the exact same thing with the aggressive off angle, spread, but it didn't pay off because they lost every single duel. And now all of a sudden on the CT side, they catch the APEKS players completely off guard, and Flit, for instance, pushing towards that fountain time and time again, does not get taken out. And immediately FORZE call for their own little pause after APEKS's pause is over.
APEKS, I think, are just going to tank a hard eco in this round. They're buying nothing. Gruss has bought a Deagle. Dennis might buy a Deagle and armor in this second timeout, but there were only a few seconds left there, and APEKS weren't going to go for any investment. By FORZE calling this second timeout, they've actually prompted out the purchase from the Nordic squad now, and it could be a slightly more difficult round as a result, but it is just going to be a couple of armored Deagles. The rest of the players have to make it work, absent body defense, and FORZE, if they somehow lose control of this round, that would be a nightmare to lose, but in all likelihood, we're heading into 14-14.
Don't speak too soon, though. There's still an AK, couple of pistols. They're going to rush forward quickly. Will they? Yeah, they do expect a quick rush to come through. Falling back, Ecstasy Power holding top connector. Will he spot out Marcelius, though? He's going to fall back. Marcelius, he's trying to peek him with that Tech 9. It's actually super close to the side. Could rush up in time, and they're not aware of it just yet. Luckily enough, there is Jerry to chime in. They had a 3-man A defense coming through. He got close, but without any decent utility, will not be able to flush out any corners on the FORZE defense. And it just seems like they're going to go for the dry rush towards the A side, which, unless they have an amazing opener, should get shut down easily by XC Power with that op.
Especially with this gap in the smoke. APEKS has one flash, Dennis has one smoke. That is T-side utility summarized, as they're just waiting for FORZE to dump more against them before pushing out of the smoke. By the looks of things, Exapower finds the shot left and takes a tag right, but he's backed away in time to repeat for another shot, and Truth can't get anything with his AK. It's all tied up 14-14. FORZE survive with 5 alive, and that means that regardless of the outcome of this round, they'll still be able to contest overtime.
Yeah, it should be honestly, I think that FORZE have it. They've been looking so awake right now.
That is a big caster's curse you could have just applied there at 14-14 in the first map of these quarterfinals, and he's called it. He thinks FORZE have taken it. Looks as though there won't be any opening kills going the way of the CTs in this round, though, as they back away. It's Exapower who'll be pressured in connector, and he's found APEKS immediately. He just gets away as well, and it's the man advantage to the CTs.
Nice opening frag, though. However, FaceCrack is going to go for the peek against Truth. Loses that fight. It looked like he had him dead to rights, but it is going to be a 2-man advantage coming in for FORZE. Oh, please don't tell me it's going to be OT, by the way. That would be even, ooh, that shoulder, but Marcelius is going to lose this time. Ecstasy Power, once that the Oppers hit that CT side, they completely win every possible duel. And it is, well, I mean, for these two teams, it does seem like this is a super CT-sided map.
Yeah, 100% of the time. It would be, well, this would be FORZE's 12th round won, assuming Dennis and Gruss don't pull off some individual heroics. But to be honest with you, they might actually need to save these weapons. Look at the T-side economy. There's no money for Marcelius or Dennis at all to bring into the next round. They are creeping that bomb into the B site. If they can get a plant, it would be a bonus, but this APEKS economy is definitely stretched. They are still committing to this one, and with 20 seconds remaining, they're going to push out onto the B bomb site.
Yeah, it's a pretty desperation push. They could go for the save, but they're going to decide if they manage to get the bomb plant in, they can have a decent buy next round, but they're getting absolutely melted. Bomb's gonna go for the plant, but he's just gonna get sprayed down. And FORZE 15, APEKS 14, and it was what, a 12-3 half in favor of APEKS. This is pretty damn disastrous. I mean, if you lose this one right now, your entire morale is going to be shot for that nuke map.
Oh yeah, especially as well when, statistically speaking, it's the APEX's joint worst map. APEKS picked Overpass to try and punish FORZE due to FORZE's poor win rate on this side of the pool, and heading into nuke, it really does not bode well as FORZE have a much better statistical historical performance. Now look at 4 players from this FORZE side: Flit on 28, Exapower on 25, Jerry and Facecrack both on 24. The difference is on the APEKS side, it's only Marcelius above 20 kills. It really is just a slight fall behind in terms of fragging, and now APEKS, they bring 2 Galils and 3 AKs forward with limited amounts of utility in a desperate attempt to force overtime in our first map of the day.
It's actually kind of surprising that when they have a score of 15-14, that there's such a massive difference in kills between these two squads. That means that tactic-wise, you know, APEKS have played the better game. They just have been losing the straight up duels eventually. They've just lost the individual firefights, whereas they have managed to win 14 rounds on their side with weaker fights, pretty much. That is pretty impressive on its own, but it is a problem for FORZE because it does show that they need to work on their strategies themselves.
Flit is so close to this smoke. Dennis has run straight through it, and Flit's not actually opened fire yet. They seem aware there could be a player. Dennis, did he know he's walking into someone? Flit's got 2 big kills from the toilets. Marcelius can reply with 1, but it's the man advantage in FORZE's favor. Now Exapower towards the A bomb site, knows his AWP is going to have huge amount of impact in this take. The flames stall APEKS yet further. The rotations are coming up through connector as well, and with 30 seconds left on the clock, APEKS have to attack the A site.
They have to go big right now. They need to shut Exapower. He's going for the aggressive peek. Gets a great flick onto Marcelius. Shuts him down. It's 2 versus 4. And Jerry shuts down Truth as well. Last man standing. Gruss is not going to succeed. And they win the map. FORZE 16-14. What a massive comeback and turn of events in favor of the FORZE squad. This is, I mean, just walking against each other and then like, wait, what? Huh?
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant work from FORZE. Fundamentally amazing comeback there on Overpass. 12-3 opening half for APEKS on their own map pick, and it all goes wrong on the T side. They are only able to win 2 rounds, and that is FORZE stealing away their opponent's map 16-14. Now we head into nuke, which is the joint weakest map in the pool for APEKS, and if they want to stay alive and attempt the reverse sweep in this quarterfinals, they are going to need to pull some individual heroics out of their back pocket. Find out if FORZE can do it in 2 after these quick ads. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Malta Vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. I thought it was going to be a rather quick first map when it was 12-3 on APEKS's CT side, but then FORZE came out of nowhere with the heroic comeback and secured the first map of our quarterfinals 16-14. Now we head into their pick where they have a clear opportunity to 2-0 this series and book a spot in the semis. My name is Protalis, and talking you through this second map with me is DK Truman. How are you doing?
I'm doing mighty fine so far. That was an amazing comeback mounted up by FORZE to take that first map, and they are en route to take the second as well. I mean, if you look at the statistics from the last 9 times that APEKS have played Nuke, they have lost 8 of them. Only ever won against Pact with a 16-4, which is a pretty decent scoreline, but compare it to FORZE, who have absolutely been tearing every team apart on that map, including Complexity, one of the teams. They took down Aves, SG Pro, SCAD. Some pretty big teams have been obliterated by them on their Nuke pick, their favorite, their best map pick on top of it all.
And that is really the dire situation for APEKS, is that you now have to face FORZE on one of your weakest maps and one of their strongest. It really does not bode well for the Nordic side. And we can talk about the individual head-to-head. Flit managing the 30 bomb in regulation time there for FORZE. And there were many a player on that roster. Basically, everyone other than Almaza was putting in heavy work in terms of the frags. Whereas from the APEKS side of things, towards the end of the map, it was Marcelius hard carrying. At the end of their CT side, it was fairly balanced between sort of Dennis and Marcelius for that top spot. But by the end of the map, he really pulled away ahead.
Yeah, it's Flit was playing that anchor linchpin the entire time. You know, kept getting those aggressive peaks. At the end, he even pushed through a smoke and found himself 2 heads. But Marcelius, he started off that CT side op so massively. When he hit the T side, I mean, he slowly kept going on, but eventually he could not carry his team anymore. And he was pretty much the solo mountain peak that they had, the only one that eventually managed to still take down the FORZE players. But you need more than one hero play to win a map against a lineup like FORZE.
And that is absolutely the case. What is really troubling for this APEKS side is how strong they were on their CT side and how weak they were in comparison on that T side. Now, heading on to Nuke, it's such a heavily CT-sided map that if they just struggle again on their T side, only put 2 rounds on the board, it's definitely not enough. FORZE are just going to overwhelm you at that point in time, and then APEKS are just going to get 2-0'd straight out of these quarterfinals. The rest of the roster, players like Dennis and Truth, they were putting in work. Don't get me wrong on the CT side. It just started to dry up a little bit on the T side of things. Truth was doing decently on the entering role over on the B bomb site. He helped win one of those 2 T side rounds for his side by getting a nice triple headshot entry into the B bomb site. But outside of that T side fragging for APEKS is really lacking, and more importantly, their economy never got off the board. Now, if their economy is going to struggle throughout Nuke and they don't have any utility available, they can say goodbye to their chances in this series.
Yeah, exactly. It's the outside take on the T side. It is nearly impossible to take outside without any smokes or flashes, because you need to either make the cross or get the close angles, and there's almost always an op mounted somewhere outside to keep an eye on that exact cross, or there's a rifler most of the time hiding deep inside garage, for instance, that you need to try and flush out. You need to flash him off the angle so you can push forward, which is actually surprisingly enough an angle a lot of people do pretty much never check, though it does come out successfully most of the time. I would say that they really do need that knife round, because we saw for both teams actually that their overpass T side was absolutely abysmal, but their CT sides were really strong, very aggressive peaks, very dynamic playstyle from both oppers to try and win themselves the rounds necessary and get the opening frags to secure, eventually in FORZE's favor, in map number 1, the win.
Now, those CT AWPs are less important on Nuke than Overpass in my estimation, but they're definitely still a very critical factor to the play around the map. There's just such a diverse array of positions in which you can deposit those AWPs, and the role of the AWP on Nuke, in my opinion, is slightly different to the role of it on Overpass. On Overpass, you really wanted to be using that CT AWP to find opening kills, put it in aggressive position, wrestle away the first frag, and then back away and use it as a part of your firm defense with the man advantage. Whereas on Nuke, these rifles tend to have to hold angles a lot more. It's less rushing to a place, finding a shot and retreating to a site, and more locking down secret or garage from outside, or trying to hold that B ramp from the T side aggression, and in often scenarios trying to find multiple kills before falling down in those positions. So the AWPs arguably have a more direct role in the defense here of Nuke, which means the players of Exapower and Marselias are going to need to stand up once again, as their impact is going to be needed by their teams.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much exactly right on the money. As you said, the Opper on Train is more... on Nuke is pretty much stationed in one position, and that is hold the outside push. That's like his job. Can, of course, peek towards A site, but most of the time it is outside. They need that cross defense. But it does seem like we are about to start soon into the knife round as well. So that is probably one of the most crucial rounds of this map, because APEKS really need that knife round to give them a chance to take the fight to FORZE.
Well, that's the issue. After falling foul to such a great comeback on the first map of Overpass, if APEKS don't get the CT side and then fail to get anything going on their T side, then it would be very, very dangerous waters for them to be swimming in. APEKS aggressing currently, looking to try and take advantage of this knife round, and they might have just done it as well. They are going to be starting on this CT side, but FORZE, they're definitely going to be fired up after the comeback on that last map.
Yeah, I mean, APEKS need a lot of rounds on their CT side here, because if it turns the other way around, FORZE managed to win it with 12 rounds against them after the first half, and only taking 3 themselves. So you have a pretty big mountain to climb to get there.
And the odds from our partners over at Lootbet keeping FORZE as the favourites in our second map. Pretty hefty odds there, and to be honest, I'd argue this is even closer in FORZE's favour than the opening odds suggest.
Yeah, this is I mean, I would say that the odds will probably, because they are on the CT side, I think those odds are like okay-ish. But it does it does tell a story of how good FORZE is on their strongest map pick of them all.
And they are desperate for a pistol round win here, because above in heaven, looking to tag damage down and prevent the vent drop. So far, he's not been able to do so. He's just dealt minor damage, and now the B bomb site is going to be encroached into. Dennis, his first point of contact, but it's Truth who's found face crackers. His teammate is distracted. Gruss is opening up for kills now as well, but Almazer and Flit have replied for 2 of their own, and now the bomb is looking to go down in the B bomb site. 3v3 retake with a kit still up on APEKS, and this round desperately needed to be won by APEKS.
Yeah, especially because they started the round off by double stacking towards B. So if they don't even win this one, while they anticipated the B push to come in from FORZE, that would absolutely be heartbreaking. It's all on Marselias. He is the man, the myth, but not the legend, because he's going to get shut down by his opposing Opper. Ecstasy Power does win it out for FORZE, but they went for a double stack towards the B site to start the round off with on APEKS, and they still lose that fight. That is really heartbreaking to watch. Normally, you don't see anyone go for the double stack towards the B site at the start of the round of all.
Indeed, and winning this pistol, if FORZE can convert the next 2 rounds now, it's such a boost to their T-side. On the CT-sided map that Nuke is, these T-side rounds are often few and far between, but if you can pick up the first 3, that goes a long way at reaching that magical 6 scoreline you're looking for later on. The opening scout shots are missing from Marcelius, but APEKS' Deagle spam is enough to pick off Facecrack in the smoke. Now, Truth is the man under pressure, but he's found the opening kill, eventually cleaned up by Exapower, though, as FORZE are charging into this B bomb site, and APEKS falls down in the vents. It's all on the scout and the Deagle to try and hold on to round number 2.
Marcelius, he gets a little bit anxious right there and tries to go for the fast peek, but Flit will chime in to get across his head as well. It is another one for FORZE. They keep 3 players alive, so a decent amount of money, especially with the fact that they went for those heavy Mac 10 buys, so they didn't spend too much money in the previous round in general. And this will pretty much be a bonus round for them. Gruss is actually playing the CZ right now, so that's going to be interesting where he's going to station that one. See if he can get a little zappy boy going.
A bit of Zeus action, perhaps. I think I'm yet to see a Zeus kill in Malta vibes, at least in the games that I've commentated, despite seeing them get bought out fairly frequently. Jerry is comfortably able to overwhelm Marcelius, who had nothing real to work with. And as Truth drops into the vents, Almaza gets that info and should be able to relay it to Facecrack, but it's not enough to deny the damage from the Deagle headshot. Dennis has found Almaza as well, and while this looks messy from the FORZE side, they do now have relatively easy control of this A bomb site. Gruss is going to punish the bomb plant. Why on earth is nobody defending that planter? That is just such a silly decision to make, but the impact of the round should not be altered as Exapower finds the second kill. It's just more expensive than it should have been for FORZE.
Yeah, that's a really costly round for FORZE. Luckily, they did not lose a single AK because the 3 players that died were the Mac 10 wielders. But, you know, you want to keep that armor at least going into the next round. They will go for the op on both sides with 2 AUGs for APEKS, because it is a reasonably long-range map, especially if you're going to be holding ramp. You want that extra little scope to help you out. Marcelius super aggressively running towards Secret is going to get the kill onto Facecrack, and the T's actually throw down a smoke to get himself out of harm's way, so he doesn't even have to use his own smoke to try and escape. Truth chimes in with a kill onto Almazer, and nice defense so far from APEKS.
The strength of the CT side of Nuke showing itself at this point as Exapower's trying to advance forward. Gruss is just going to miss the timing on this particular peak, so I'm not sure whether there might be a false sense of security here as the player in Garage has been spotted, but Marcelius just baits him out brilliantly. Swings out for the kill, and it's a clean sweep. Not a point of damage dealt by FORZE in that round. They get shell-shocked almost in the first full gun, and I don't think they have enough money to justify a purchase. Exapower can get an AWP, so it'll just be Facecrack on limited weaponry, but that was a beautiful round from APEKS.
That was a nice little hold. Everyone in the team being fruitful right there. They had perfect situations, nice calls to be made because they knew that there was one player trying to flank towards heaven, and Marcelius then peeks out wide to shut him down. However, will they be able to hold off another FORZE push? But let's see what kind of strats FORZE have. They went for the outside play, did not pay off. Right now, a decent amount of damage dealt to Almazer. Nade coming in from AKES, which should not do any damage whatsoever. They don't... Okay, Flit is outside. He is going to be their utility wielder, so he might go for the molly on top of blue, for instance. Don't know exactly the angles on this map because I literally have no idea where the smokes land. And mollies, I've practiced them once, but I completely failed every single time.
Well, let's hope that Flit doesn't fail in this round, otherwise FORZE could be in serious trouble. Exapower, he's at close range. That one Molotov could really punish, but he's going to bait out to draw attention towards Facecrack's angle. They're even going to bait out shots here as well, and they're happy to sacrifice the Deagle if it means they can convert easier kills in the site. The Molotov has dealt damage as well, but AKES has nearly lined some players up. Jerry instead takes him down, and it's Truth in the back corner who's held on brilliantly. Marcelius in the upper ranks now tries to find Flit, who's left alone. He drops a smoke to the high ground, but they're rushing rushing into him. First kill found, can't get the second though, and it's well held on by APEKS.
There were two things that went really unfortunate there. There was one, the molly landed too far away from the one corner where the CT player was hiding, so they thought that they flushed him out, but he was actually still safe. And the other one was the fact that Ecstasy Power did not get the jump up onto I think it was it Face Crack or the Deagler towards the vent. They wanted to go for the boost so that he could have vision over Heaven, but he just he misjumped, or the duck didn't come in on time. Something went wrong, at least with the communication. And Marcelius gets the shot through the smoke, gets rid of Face Crack, opening frag for APEKS immediately.
Dennis, he actually can't get the second one there, and they're trying to punish Jerry, but they won't be able to deny that weapon pickup, despite it being on a 30 HP player. Exapower's Deagle is now hunting around for more damage, and he's found it in the A bomb site. He's actually created a lot of room to maneuver for his squad as well, should they want to advance over there, and they've actually severely thinned out the defenses of the B bomb site as well. It's just Gruz holding here with his AUG, but this is a beautiful little off angle from Exapower. If he's looking the right way, he could punish for a kill. Instead, he's taken down by Truth, and it's now the 3-on-3 scenario. Almas are lucky to be alive, but that kill for Marcelius could just swing this round in their favor.
Yeah, the damage has been dealt to the FORZE players. Of course, if they manage to get a headshot in and clean up Gruz, that would be a bomb plan, but they will not be successful there. Gruz shuts them down. Towards that B site, the linchpin coming in clutch, and that is 3 rounds now for APEKS. 3-3. The map is tied, and a very good couple of rounds for APEKS. It did get a little bit dicey in that one with the Ecstasy Power's Deagle play towards that A side, but they kept their head cool on APEKS and didn't go for the over rotation or aggressive moves to give away their positioning.
And it's fairly much the hard eco right now for FORZE, just using these pistols. They're going to try and run straight into Gruz's AUG and take him down before he can farm up too many kills. He'll only get one. Actually, it's Dennis who gets the opening kill there, defending the AWP in the hands of Marcelius' Truth now. But Almas has taken him down, so it's a slightly expensive round, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to win this 1-on-3 unless he lands a beautiful opening shot. He can't get it done, and that is the lead now secured by APEKS. This T side for FORZE only needs to find 6 rounds to be relatively successful, and they're going to buy up to do so. Now we have the opportunity to talk about our case partners over at Hellcase, who are the biggest and most well-known case opening website with almost 100 cases, updated case battle upgrader, and dozens of giveaways per month. Now it is the full gun round coming through in number 8. It's not necessarily vital for FORZE to win, but they do need to start scoring again at some point.
They really need this round, pretty much. They went for the full investment. They went full weaponry, full utility. That's why they saved in the previous round. Close range Dennis, though, he's playing behind the smoke. If that smoke dissipates, he is a sitting duck. The moment that one player spots him out, he can get completely caught out by the rest of these FORZE players. Face Crack, he knows something's up. He smells Dennis around the corner. Luckily enough, AKS does chime in with a return frag coming through. Flit on top of Mini does get spotted out. Is gonna have to dodge away from the opper, but Marcellus actually gets a little bit of a tag. Luckily, Gruz is there to make sure that they will not lose their players anymore. So a man advantage coming in for APEKS, and Flit still on top of Mini, just keeping his head down, his head cool. Almazer is pushing Ram, though. Gruz will win that duel as well, and Gruz is really stepping up on this CT side so far.
Certainly putting work in for APEKS, and Flit now moving around is really just trying to avoid the scopes of Marcelius' AWP in the garage. His AWP has made its way into secret, but he still has to get off this roof. That's the huge problem. He'll drop a flash to try and find a way through, but AKS has actually whiffed the spray down. That space perhaps given, but Marcelius has taken down Exapower. Flit's found the frag, but now has to land a perfect 1-on-2 situation if FORZE want the round, and there's only 10 seconds for him to work with. He has to back away, and that's 5 consecutive now for APEKS on the CT side.
He really does want to save that up. I would assume. He's not even going to go for it. He's just going to stay and keep that. Okay, no, he is actually going to swap it out, but he waits till the last second so that he doesn't give away the weapon drop on his position. Does keep the op intact, but his money is gone. He could get a drop from XSE Power, at least. Well, he could actually drop him an AK, and then Flit buys a little bit of utility, or go for the Galil, and then, I mean, you still have to go for a full reason. Actually, with max loss bonus, Flit probably could buy next round if they just save now.
Yeah, and even if he only buys up armor, Jerry's got 3.6k, so with max loss bonus, he could drop over maybe a less effective weapon, but still it would equalize the buy slightly more. So they are going to go for the economic decision in number 9 and potentially give APEKS an easier 6th round. They are performing well on this CT side, but there's always the caveat in my mind. It was the 12-3 half on overpass, and with this map being FORZE's pick, I'm always worried to see what APEKS are going to do on the T side.
I mean, we might also get bamboozled, and FORZE have not practiced the map in a while, and then they just get absolutely annihilated. We never know. It is still CSGO. First to 16 rounds wins. Well, unless, of course, you have OT and stuff, but that is beside the point. Let's see how they're going to be handling this round. They don't have a lot of utility. 4 smokes on the side of FORZE, so they could go for an outside execute. We do have a player in Marcelius with the op down towards secret. XSE's Power is trying to get a little bit of an intel play, but they are heavy stacking A with 3 players towards site. 1 player, actually, no, there might even be 4 players towards site, but there's Marcelius versus XSE Power, and Marcelius, of course, wins that duel. Again, the CT opper reigning supreme.
No such thing as Pika's advantage against Marcelius rooted in that angle. He's too quick to allow it, and he lands the important shot. Dennis is the player now who will be under pressure outside. As Jerry is going to push in isolated with the bomb. He's totally alone there. I don't know why he's not with the rest of his team, considering he's got the bomb on his back. This is the round all over now for FORZE as they have to recover the bomb. All they can hope for is economic damage.
Yeah, pretty much. It's going to be really tough to recover that bomb. Almeida does get the headshot in. Op shot from FaceCrack chimes in as well. Gets a double. That's the A side completely cleared. What just happened? Gruss let him through towards heaven and gave them an opportunity. Now Marcelius with the op is going to be playing close range. Gruss, what is he going to just rush up the ladder and hope that FaceCrack whiffs the shot? It seems that must be the plan. And he does win it out playing the ladder dance, but that is just pure luck coming through because you have literally no accuracy on that thing. Peak comes white, but does give the intel that Flit is towards second vents, and Flit is just going to try and play the second vents angle perfectly. Gets rid of Marcelius with a headshot, and that is the round finally in favor of FORZE. Nice little comeback there, 3v5, and absolutely obliterates that A defense.
I wasn't aware that Flit had an AK then, so I was quite worried about that hold from FORZE in the post plan. It was great work from the retake to just take down the AWP in heaven, and that secondary nade finding the follow-up kill was brilliant, but unfortunately not enough for a victory. That's FORZE on 4. Now the cash isn't perfect for APEKS, but it's not in a nightmarish scenario. They'll still be able to contest this round with decent firepower, and Jerry needs to be careful because he's been tagged down heavily, but he's just trying to get down into the vents. Perhaps he's tried to go slightly too aggressively as Dennis has taken him down with his FAMAS.
That was some heavy aggression coming through outside. Flit just jumped down the moment that Marcelius peaks, and that is just timing right there. C is good. Now it's all on XC Power and Almazer. Can they clutch this one out? The first shot is gonna, well, pretty much do nothing right there from XC Power. Dennis gets the shutdown onto Almazer. XC Power with the op in hand, 22 HP. I mean, if they drop this op, they could pick themselves up a secondary opper.
I think that's why Exapower is desperately trying to stay alive, but he's unable to do so. And APEKS lose against the Deagles and single rifle, but with 5 alive and barely anything to work with, they just dismantle FORZE, who tried to go too quickly, it feels, in that last round. Tried to get too aggressive, expecting their opponents perhaps to be on a weaker buy than they were. Now it's down to the Deagles again for this FORZE T side, as they're looking at 2 more rounds necessary to put up a good fight on the CT side of things. There's actually a Mac 10 in the hands of FaceCrack as well, so definitely scraps to work with, but it was lucky that they found a win in their last pistol round.
We got wide from Dennis. Let's get rid of FaceCrack, but this was all a bait smoke wall outside, and it is a terrible bait because they get absolutely destroyed. They just don't have the weaponry to take a duel against these APEKS defenders. 7-4. There will be a buy round coming in right now for FORZE, though, with an op on XC power as well. If they win this, yeah, they need this one at least on 4. I mean, even with 4 rounds, I mean, they just came back from a 9-round deficit anyway, so I won't say a single thing about FORZE. They're not out of this game until actually that last round is finally concluded.
They have full utility to operate with in this round at bare minimum. Look at all the fire in the A bomb site, and it's tagged nobody. Some of it from the CTs and some of it from the T side, but either way, no damage dealt by the early Molotovs. And Dennis in the aggressive spot, supported by Marcelius, who is in a fairly advanced position himself and has spotted out Flit above the silo, jiggle peeking. He is removed, and FaceCrack now. This is going to be the perfect bait. He doesn't expect Dennis around the corner. Double, triple entry for APEKS in the full gun round, as they are reading FORZE like a book. These Nordic CT sides are incredibly strong, it seems, but it's the T side that was weak on overpass, and almost a double fragging gives a chance to FORZE in the round, but Exapower has to recover the bomb, and that leaves Olmaza isolated enough to be taken down.
Yeah, he has to cross outside with 2 flashes and an HE grenade. Plus, if he uses any utility, they know exactly where he's coming from. Marcelius falling all the way back outside towards little blue box. XC Power does take a little bit of damage. It's going to go down secret where he has to duel Marcelius most likely. Is Marcelius going to win that engagement? Yes, he is. Deagle shot to the dome, and XC Power falls. 4-round lead for APEKS right now, and FORZE are looking in complete turmoil right now. I mean, they literally have 1 strat as well.
Yeah.
Well, okay, 2. They've got outside, which fails because they're up against Marcelius, and then they've got the inside, which, well, fails because they're up against 3 A defenders from the side of APEKS.
Every time FORZE try and change plans as well, APEKS are reading it every single opportunity. Just shutting them down completely. Marcelius has deleted Olmaza outside, and for one of their stronger maps in the pool, FORZE, this is a really unimpressive T side. They've put 4 rounds on the board, but 3 of them were because of the pistol and the conversion. If they lost the pistol round, they only have 1 round in the bank at the moment, and that is a really dire spot to be in. Unfortunately for them, they are going to get guns out in the next, but they're running out of rounds in this half to win. And APEKS, perhaps they found some motivation after the stomping on the first map.
That's going to be a 2-man advantage right now for APEKS. They're just trying to crawl through the smoke. Marcelius will not throw out a blind shot to spot out if anyone is in the area, but they do have a lot of intel, because the fact that they haven't seen anyone just yet, they might consider them going towards that B site, which is why Marcelius already rotated towards the B ramp. He's on 14 frags so far, so he's been absolutely going insane on the CT side. I mean, FORZE's main game plan here is just get the bomb down. That's all they want to achieve.
I think that's all they can hope to achieve in this round as they tick down the clock. Marcelius does not miss his opening shot, and he does the second, though. So Exapower at close range with the bomb, actually, is not going to be able to plant by the looks of things. Jerry has taken them down, but he can't get back into the B site. He knows it. He tries to deal more damage with the AWP at the end, but he can't find anything else. APEKS with 9 at bare minimum. This is FORZE's opportunity, their last opportunity, to get 6 rounds on the T side.
They need to convert this one. You know what I don't see enough from teams? The actual full execute towards A. You see sometimes one player using his utility, but you don't see enough of, like, you know, one mollying multiple angles on site, smoking off certain angles from outside to just make sure that there are only like 2-3 spots that the CTs can hide in. And that's just something that I find a little bit lacking in a lot of strats. I mean, those executes can really have a lot of impact on a map like Nuke, where you don't actually have too many angles to hide on as a CT.
You're absolutely right. And FORZE, I mean, they need a change of pace, but it might be too late in the half for them to get it. I think they were expecting to be, you know, walking into some mentally checked out opponents here after the beating they took in the comeback on Overpass, but instead they're putting up great fights at every angle. Gruz and Truth reply for the opening kill that FORZE found, and while Almaza may get away into this A bomb site, it will be actively defended by APEKS, and more aggression into the A site even. I think he spotted out Jerry's position, and that's double digits confirmed now for APEKS. It's another disastrous T side for FORZE.
And it's, I mean, I just don't know. It's like Ecstasy Power, he's walking towards Secret with his back turned towards Secret. No utility thrown out to smoke or flash him through. And he doesn't even consider the fact that Marcelius might be hiding inside Secret himself. So he peeks out wide. That's the opera gone. 4.7k investment just thrown out the window. You need to be aware of the fact that there are a couple of angles that Marcelius plays. One of them is where he's shutting you down multiple times, is in Secret.
This is really similar to what we saw from Winstrike on their T side. They just tried to commit outside time and time again, and they just had no utility to commit to it. And FORZE were committing early utility outside at the start of the half, but they've just been baited, as so many teams often are on the T side of Nuke, to pick up the AKs without the grenades, and it's just impossible. You can't get towards a bomb site without utility on this map. You would rather double eco and lose 2 consecutive rounds with Glocks and make sure you have utility available, rather than lose 3 out of 3 rounds with AKs and no nades.
Going to be a ramp push. They haven't done that a lot, but Gruz did pick up the secondary op. By the way, they picked up an auto sniper on APEKS earlier in this round. It's somewhere in their spawn. Gruz going all the way back towards heaven. They know the last player is flit towards ramp, so they can just hold the angles down. He does have the bomb on his back. It's going towards that B site. It would be a hero play and a half to try and win this round out around for FORZE. Marcelius does whiff to start it off with. He's going to go for the fake plant. Does hear the steps down vents, but he's being cornered in from multiple angles. It's going to peek double doors, where he'll lose the fight against APEKS, and that is 11 for APEKS with only 4 for FORZE.
Well, FORZE mounted a more difficult comeback in the last map of Overpass, but I don't think they were expecting to have to do it again on Nuke. Look at that sheer dominance from APEKS. They lose the pistol in the following 2 and then only drop 1 remaining round throughout the half, and FORZE, they only plant 1 time. Out of all of the rounds that APEKS win, they only have to defuse a single opportunity. Our partners over at LootBet, they still have FORZE as the favourites now that they're on the CT side, but they are desperate for this pistol, and it's still a 50-50 even if they get it.
These odds seem weird. Like, I know that FORZE, of course, have that massive advantage, but that, you know, getting still the advantage while they are 7 rounds behind, that's... I mean, even a team like FORZE can lose a game against APEKS.
Absolutely right. And the outside control APEKS was well defended by FORZE, and that's an important kill for Flit to find, because Dennis's P250 has taken down his teammate, but now he's removed from the round, and there's a man advantage for the FORZE side as these Ts are rushing towards the ramp. Flit has to be careful. He's just about survived, but they are rushing into him. He might be able to retreat into the B site safely. Comes back for some aggression, though, and Marcelius just deletes him. 3-on-3 retake now in the B bomb site as FaceCat gets aggressive. APEKS has killed his teammate, but he's found now Marcelius and brought it back into a 2-on-2.
It is going to be FORZE with only Almeza. He has to clutch it up. The bomb is not down yet. They're going to try and double peek him, but he does eventually lose that duel, and that is 12-4 in favor of APEKS. This might be the nail in the coffin right there. Winning the pistol for APEKS is massive, and they will have themselves a decent buy round. Of course, FORZE will be forcing up behind it to try and hold off this. I mean, if they will force this one and then lose the full eco on the side of FORZE, then you're looking at 14-4. So yeah, this is a do or die round for FORZE.
I'm perplexed. They've just looked almost like a completely different team on Nuke. Really just... From the way their plays were and their tactics were on the T side, it really looked like they expected to just be walking in against opponents who were already defeated, who were mentally checked out of the map. They just tried to brute force outside takes on 80% of their rounds and lost out the vast majority of them, whiffing out on that pistol as well, where they had the man advantage, re-peaking a couple of too many occasions, every individual it felt, or at least the majority of them, and now APEKS with a lead. FORZE, they've got that force, but it's going to be very difficult for them to claim victory, and if they don't, we're heading to a map 3 that really should not have happened based on past statistics of these maps.
Yeah, it's a tough one indeed. I mean, as you said, FORZE, they just think that they win in the outright duels against APEKS. Ecstasy Power does chime in with a nice kill, though, onto Truth, so that is a good opener. One of the rifles has been dropped outside. Close range, Jerry with that CZ could do a lot of damage here on top of Blue, and APEKS, it does seem that he's going to head back towards that A site where he's going to have to jump right out of vents again. It is going to be a quick rush towards that A site to try and get the site with brute force, it seems. Will it work out, though? Because we do have Ecstasy Power in heaven with the scout. Just needs the tags so the CC can finish it off. But Cross executes Ecstasy Power. Gets another one onto Jerry. The flag coming out from Face Crack. And there's, I think, one right behind his bum. And that is Flitz. Will they expect Marcelius to be in the off angle? Yes, they do, but they will not win that straight duel. Marcelius is too good right now, and it's all on Almeza with the CZ in hand. The problems keep stacking up on the side of FORZE.
And really, you have to say it, their T sides are abysmal. On Overpass, they made up for it with a heroic CT comeback, but you still can't justify having a T side that unsuccessful. And carrying forward on to Nuke, it was almost even worse. It was one round better off, but still, because they haven't won the second pistol, they're in a much more dire situation than they were on Overpass. They now potentially have to eco and give away 14-4, and this has just been utter dominance from APEKS on the second map that FORZE should not have allowed.
It's as you said earlier, that it feels like they think they are superior player-wise, so they can just go for the straight duels, but you're still playing against pros. Even though you have a massive advantage in terms of percentage, statistics are just that, statistics. They don't mean enough in this game to warrant a free win for a team, and they just honestly think that they can outplay them by just raw aim. They need to work on their strats, especially on that T side. It has been looking a lot worse so far. There is going to be down below Truth getting himself the opening kill, but they're going to go for a heavy push towards ramp. Something that, for instance, FORZE never really went for on their T side.
Not at all. The pistols, they are here to try and defend, but the MAC-10s are cleaning them away. Gruss with the penultimate kill of the round, you have to imagine. Jerry's CZ desperate to find something, but the likelihood that anything gets accomplished here is incredibly low. He's just going to try and save his armor and CZ forward. APEKS, it's 14-4 and potentially 15-4 if they can claim victory in the next full gun round. FORZE, they just went missing. Somebody needs to go looking for them before Mirage comes around, because this has been a disastrous performance on Nuke.
A disastrous performance on the T side in general, and last time they were able to recover it on their CT, but now not anymore. So honestly, at this moment, the knife round is the most crucial round of the game, and I'm curious on how their Mirage defense / offense is going to look, because I don't have a lot of faith in FORZE taking this one.
I have to agree with you. The comeback, because they won the pistol of the CT side of Overpass, was possible, but at 14-4, it's too big. It's too much of an opportunity for APEKS. All they need to do is win one round, and FORZE can then make no more mistakes at any point in time. It just seems like too great a deficit to even consider here. The 12-3 comeback was admirable, but 14-4, that should be too much too late. We'll have to see if they want to prove me wrong, though. Exapower has an AWP in hand, but the CT utility is thinning fast, as it's just 2 smokes and 3 flashes, 4 flashes even now, and 1 smoke remaining for the CT side.
We do have a decent defense towards that B side. They like defending B, it seems, on FORZE. FaceCrack is playing close range. Nice flash. Excellent play. That's the strats that we were looking for. The pop flash to get around the corner and get themselves a man advantage. Where have those strats been on the T side? I have not really seen any of them. But they suddenly start waking up on their CT side defense, and they all chime in for a couple of kills. It's all on Dennis right now. They do have more than enough money for a full buy next round anyway, so you might as well just try and get some economic damage dealt.
You're right there. If he can just creep forward, find a cheeky kill or two, that is all he can hope for. Jumping to try and bait sound cues that he's jumped across there out of an AWPer's crosshairs, and he has actually baited Jerry into pushing. Unfortunately, Dennis has missed the timing on that one, so he's going to have to walk forwards and look for a kill in the B bomb site. In the last 20 seconds of this round, he'd like to die as well if possible, so that he gets money in the next one. Going to rush out into B at bare minimum. He might actually walk straight up into Jerry to look for the kill. Will drop a smoke and look for a plant, but as long as he gets taken down, that's all that he had to do. Finds a late kill, and APEKS can still bring a buy forward. FORZE survived that last one, but they still have a huge mountain to climb.
They've got one... they have one round that they can lose. Realistically, the only round... They have to win 10 rounds in a row at least to make it to OT, and well, yeah, to make it to OT. They just need to win so many. That nice little attempt there from Marcellus. Got pretty close, but unfortunately did not connect the wall bang. Otherwise, we'd have a nice little Reddit clip coming in.
Fortunately, not in this round at bare minimum. That T-side utility, it is still fairly strong as they're looking to dump more Molotovs through. FORZE just need to be careful that they are deploying their smokes, etc. at the right time, as APEKS are trying to take outside control at the moment. Jerry's tracers aren't going to be punished, but he can't find any kills either. And Flit now at close ramp has to call in Exapower to help defend. If he goes aggressive, Marcellus could really punish that. Instead, it's Exapower who's found truth and connected the wall bang with the leg there. Collateral damage dealt, and a man advantage again for the side of FORZE.
And trying to go for the re-peek. That was actually a pretty nice bait and switch towards the ramp. These small little plays is actually really what they missed on their T side. I don't know why it's so much easier to do on the CT side than the T side, but they look a lot more awake, especially. We do have Dennis down towards fence B though, and it seems they still want to go for that ramp push coming in. AKAZ jumps across. And the spray down from Flit, shutting them both down. Knows that there's a player down below, and it is actually 2 players with Gruss and Dennis. Peek out wide. Ecstasy Power will not whiff that shot. And just like that, Apex are getting shut down on their T side as well. Managed to at least get 1 kill, but at this point, the economy doesn't really matter for FORZE. They just can't lose a round.
That's the key point. That is the focal point here for FORZE. They just can't lose control at any point in time, and APEKS know as long as they play the economic game right, eventually they should at least win a single gun round, and that would then put them on map point. And to be honest, as long as they win 1 round out of the next 6, I'd still be fairly confident in their ability to close out this map. If FORZE came back from 14 to 4, that would be absolutely crazy, and you'd have to argue that it's APEKS who had the worst T-side in that scenario.
A spray down almost kills off Dennis. Unfortunately, doesn't finish him off. Takez does get taken down though by Jerry through the smoke afterwards, and it does seem to be a B push coming in with a little bit of a one-way smoke, so Flit has an angle to peek from. Very nice move indeed, but they know that it's a one-way smoke, so they're gonna go with the aggressive smoke themselves, so they can get the cross, but he just pushes through that smoke, and together they lynch the FORZE, the APEKS lineup completely. There's still a 7-round difference between the two, but hey, as I said, I'm not gonna say that it's over.
Well, the guns are coming out, but there's limited utility, and I don't know what it is about these T-sides that... Why don't they just wait until they have all the utility available? Why bother buying the Deagles and full armor in that last round when you're probably just going to lose it anyway? The last 2 full gun rounds, you only got 1 kill in both of them. What makes you think you're going to do better with the Deagles in this one? That grenades are so much more of a priority, because now APEKS have expended the vast majority of their smokes, and all they've done is get Dennis into secret. They've got 2 smokes left to work with to find a way into a bomb site or extinguish Molotovs in a retake scenario.
It does seem to be a very quick rush towards A. They're all... Russ gonna get spotted out, but a 1-for-1 trade. And Akez does shut down the other defender on that A site out. It is going to be a retake situation. Double up on Heaven. Dennis is still down below, but Jerry actually gets rid of Dennis and makes it a 3-on-3. However, Jerry has to make a long rotation, and the bomb is ticking down, and he is nowhere near the enemies just yet. He's also heading up towards Heaven, it seems. This is going to be a very aggressive retake situation, but Truth and Akez both chime in, and it's all on XC Power with that up. It's going to put them at 8 map points.
And it looks like the easy conversion from that point in time for APEKS. The money is still there for FORZE to buy, but you almost wonder why on earth they bothered picking Nuke in this series. They just look awful on it. Really got nothing done on the T side whatsoever. Have had a couple of strong gun rounds on their CT, but then immediately fallen apart to APEKS. As soon as the next guns come in, they struggle completely to hold on to that A bomb site, and the 3-on-3 is a total failure. They all push from Heaven, and it yields no results for them. Now they need to string 8 consecutive rounds together just to force overtime.
Nice peek wide though. Does only get 1 kill, surprisingly enough. Marcelius does stay alive. The flick from XSE Power is not gonna connect. Gruss gets the shot in and shuts down XSE Power. It started off so nice, but they got annihilated. Flit is down below though. They have a peek coming through. Second vent. Truth is gonna get the kill, and now face crack towards vent. He has to hold the line here. Does not hold it strongly enough, and now Flit pushing quickly. Last round, he's down to 9 HP. Will most likely get shut down, but I don't want to count them out just yet.
I mean, he's got 9 health. It's just impossible. 1 bullet. There we are. Truth has done it. He spots the barrel in the smoke, and APEKS have trashed FORZE on their own map pick, proved that they had not mentally checked out of this series and shown us that they are very keen to take us to Mirage indeed. Our third and final map as a decider on the way very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. We'll have it ready for you just after these quick ads. Hello everyone and welcome back to Malta Vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. It was certainly unexpected after narrowly losing out on their first pick, but APEKS came out swinging in the second map of Nuke and manhandled FORZE 16-7 to force us on to our decider map of Mirage. My name is Protalis, and talking you through the third and final with me is DK Truman. How are you feeling ahead of this one?
I am baffled at the fact that FORZE got absolutely annihilated on that Nuke map. Both sides, I mean, especially FORZE's side, just their CT defense it wasn't as great as we would have expected it to be. Hopefully, you know, make that comeback 11-4. But their T side was abysmal. They had absolutely nothing they could do against APEKS on both maps on that T side. And, well, we're heading over towards Mirage, where, again, the percentage advantage does favor FORZE, but at this moment in time, I'm not really sure if I do favor FORZE myself, because so far what I've seen from APEKS has been them just winning the straight duels and looking a lot more clean than FORZE themselves.
Yeah, and in the last 5 maps, APEKS have lost 2 of them, but one of those losses was in overtime on Mirage, and that means it's a much more favorable map potentially for APEKS than Nuke was, and they just came out and slaughtered their opposition on Nuke. FORZE were completely shell-shocked by it. We made the point multiple occasions. It looked as though FORZE were expecting to walk into mentally checked out opponents after that first map, and instead they walked into an even stronger and revitalized APEKS side. Now heading over to Mirage, the T side seemed to be the critical factor, both sides struggling on the offensive halves, but you have to imagine if APEKS can put a good T side out, they're in a great spot after that dominant showing on Nuke.
Yeah, I mean, again, the knife round is going to be pretty crucial between these two teams. So far, both times, the knife round has been won by APEKS, and they definitely did reap the fruits of their labor there. So let's see if that's going to be the case in this one as well. It is going to be slightly less important on this map because, of course, Overpass and Nuke are pretty reasonably CT-sided. Whereas the Mirage is pretty much split between the middle, but the same players are still in the top of the charts against each other. Marcelius on that APEKS side and FORZE with the Flit carry.
Marcelius catching up to Flit now after that 30 bomb on the first map. He did manage then to get 18 kills in a map where his team only won 7 rounds. That's a pretty good effort from Flit and good showing heading forward throughout this series if he is going to continue to form. But Marcelius is quickly becoming the key threat on this APEKS side. That Norwegian AWPer really wreaking havoc with FORZE in that last map, just dominating the outside control. And when we head over to Mirage, he's going to be a vital player from the APEKS side at holding that mid position.
Yeah, there are some very nice little crucial op angles on Mirage. You know, the B apps, of course, if you're on the CT side, but especially in mid and connect, you've got that aggressive peek out op, which I do like to see, but it is very risky indeed. We are gonna go live with the knife round between APEKS and FORZE. This is the most crucial round of the entire game, as the previous 2 maps have definitely shown, and it is gonna be FORZE for the first time winning the knife round. So are they gonna start off on the CT side, or are they gonna shoot themselves in the foot? It does seem that they're gonna choose to go for that CT side as expected, because they have been lackluster on the T side previously.
It's the first CT start they've had all series, and as we get the odds from our partners over at Lootbet, they still consider FORZE the favourites on this map. I really have no idea what to expect here, because it was so good on the CT comeback from FORZE on Overpass, but then so bad on Nuke. This should favour FORZE, but I really have no idea.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, these teams are pretty much a flip of a coin right now. APEKS are not at their prime strength after that vacation, it does seem. Long range tap fight, FaZe Crack loses that duel. Wins that duel eventually, and it is going to be a 3-man advantage all of a sudden. Jerry just chimes in with a big play coming through to turn that one around and gets himself 4 on the board from top plateau.
4 heads tapped away by the USPS of Jerry, and it's the opening pistol of this 3rd and final map of our opening quarterfinal of the day. What a time for FORZE to win out that pistol as well, as they have the SMGs on the board. Because APEKS didn't get a plant, they're up against a full eco in this round, so the SMG should have easy farm as long as they don't get overwhelmed by too many players at once.
And immediately the headshot onto Ecstasy Bow with that P250 close range. A Glock, but from behind, they don't expect the flank. No one is holding the flank from lower. That's 2 for 2 trade. That is really just unawareness right there from FORZE that they could get possibly flanked. Luckily, they will shut down the last couple of players, but those are the situations. These are the rounds they literally are giving you a free round in that regard. So you gotta keep aware of your opponent's possibilities.
They do hold on to the anti-eco FORZE, but now they have a full buy to defend against, and their bank is going to be stretched slightly by dropping 2 players down. Almaza sticking on that UMP as FaZe Crack is on the MP9, but Exapower has an AWP in hand, and he'll be looking to utilize that to devastating effect. Jerry looks like he's just missed the jump there, so has to drop down into underpass, but Gruz has actually been flashed in perfectly. He is deleted for free, and APEKS have the man advantage in the first full gun round.
Yeah, they knew that something was up, and a nice move indeed. Though they need to even out that score. XC Power might get the shot on Marcelius if Marcelius doesn't pay attention. Or down below, Gruss is going to peek into that op. It's going to be a jiggle peek fest. It seems Flash to get him off the angle, and they're not giving XC Power a good solid shot here. However, look at that. There's already a player in sandwich from APEKS. Truth peeking wide, does get shut down by XC Power because they did not know that if ramp was clear or not. There's a big flank coming up from FaZe Crack. Spots out that Palace is completely clear. Flit dodges the flash, but still does not win the outright duel. And now Almazer is the last B defender they have left. There's a big flank coming in, but the flank is taking its sweet time. He swaps towards his smoke, and he gets taken out. Long range fight. XC Power does not get the connection either, and we still have the push coming through from short towards mid, heading towards that B site. Dennis is actually turning his attention away, and this is a 2-on-1 situation. Could look up the bomb. FaZe Crack with the flank. Bomb is down for 15 seconds left. They need to get the defuse in ASAP or the kill onto FaZe Crack. He could play the bomb game perfectly and win the round. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't die to Dennis. Plant coming in. What is this blindness? It's not coming through. He gets the double spray down on FaZe Crack. Clutches it at 1v4. The man, the myth, the legend. Oh my god, what a play.
What on earth though, APEKS? They just threw that round away. They are too eager to hunt on the A bomb site for kills when B is not safe. FaZe Crack gets both of them, and then in the smoke, they can't find the frags, and Gruz doesn't want to kill Dennis with the spray down, so he switches to the knife, but that allows FaZe Crack to retreat through the smoke and punish them both. A nightmarish round for APEKS to lose, and FaZe Crack just one-taps AKES off the face of the earth.
Chimes in with the second one as well. He's definitely feeling it. APEKS, they only have 2 left. Truth and Dennis. Truth is going to fall. Dennis, the pistol Meister, will he be able to at least get 1 kill? No, XC Power peeks him from top of CT boxes, and that is going to be a 4 on the board for FORZE.
4 in a row at the start of the map, buffing up that CT economy slightly as well, as they do get through that eco fairly cleanly. Beautiful fadeaway shot there from FaZe Crack. Absolute insanity. But it is still going to be the full gun round from APEKS either way here in number 5. They look to go slightly quickly towards the A ramp for an opening kill, but the remaining players are playing slightly in a more default style. It looks like they're just committing in towards the apartments early on, holding for that underpass aggression and waiting for FORZE to peek in early.
Jerry, they swap the angles that they're holding between each other, and a nice shot from Ecstasy Power to catch out Truth. This is the buy round. Jerry does need to be very careful of his positioning, of course. Did see the barrel of Gruss shuts him down as well, and a 2-man advantage in for FORZE. I mean, we've said it time and time again, these two teams do not know how to play the D side, and it's looking like it's happening in map number 3 as well.
APEKS swinging out into mid as first point of contact. Famas from Flit is in ladder room, and Extra Power takes down Marcelius before being traded out by the APEKS IGL. They're actually going to fall away from the A bomb site, at least in the immediate hold, and just leave Olmazer aggressive in CT, but it's just to rotate and actuate a flank. Dennis has punished Flit there, though, and Olmazer getting one back might have just put this round to bed. Now in a 1-on-3 is Dennis. He's opening headshot. Has he found? And that is beautiful. Takes down the low HP face crack, but has no idea of Jerry's positioning, and he can shut it down for FORZE. It's another expensive round, but they get through it victorious.
That was a nice one from Dennis right there to open up this site. Look at the raising down, and then the quick tap, boom. Nice execution from Dennis the Menace, but this will be a buy round, a semi-buy round coming out from APEKS. They do have max loss bonus anyway, so every round will at least have some armor and some pistols on the side of APEKS, and they're going to go for a quick B execute, it seems. They should know that it's coming. They have mollies in hand, and the mollies should block off the take, but this is all a quick bait to get rid of those mollies immediately. They still do have Flit with a molly towards short, though, which is going to get extinguished. Russ is on site. Flit has absolutely no idea. None of them do. Almazer is completely blindsided there. And Ecstasy Power jumps through the smoke with his op, gets his frag onto APEKS, and it's now going to be a 3-on-3 retake scenario.
The issue for Marcelius is he's not been able to plant yet, and face crack could have denied it just then. He's slightly too late, but he's found the kill in the late instances. Truth in the apartments with a deagle in hand, trying to find face crack at close range, has done it, but his teammate falling with the rifle makes this a potentially impossible task. Extra Power has landed another AWP shot, and it's another expensive round for FORZE, but another one that they still managed to get through. 6-0 lead on the CT side. APEKS bringing through another full gun round.
Yeah, with the bomb plant especially, they have absolutely everything that they could wish for on the side of APEKS and FORZE. APEKS do go for a timeout. I mean, they need to figure out a strat that could work. B got pretty close. I mean, if you had solid weaponry, they might have actually been able to shut down that B scenario. Maybe go for a mid to B split. You have to be very careful, of course, of Ecstasy Power's op towards that mid area if you're going to go for the strat, but I do think that B has so far does net them a bigger chance of success with at least how they held that initial push last round.
I do tend to agree with you on majority of occasions, and it's no different this time. I think APEKS do have a better chance of taking that B site. They took the contact play well with the pistols in that last round. The issue, though, is that now that FORZE have just a full amount of utility really to utilize, and it's AKs rather than deagles, moving in at a much slower pace if you want to have the gun out, it does slow you down a lot. It does mean you can be chewed up by these CT angles, and face crack, well, he looked for a second there, but Marcelius was quick enough to take him down on the trade and bring it into a 4v4. And in these balanced scenarios, it does always favor the T side, because it's the CTs who have to thin out their defenses more and are more likely to be overwhelmed.
APEKS is going to peek in, might spot out Flit here. Does actually miss Flit, who's going to try and climb up the ladder, and Flit finishes off APEKS. But they are moving towards that B side. Both of the CT players towards short, so that should actually, do they have any decent utility? They don't have a molly left on the side of FORZE. But both sides are lacking a little bit in utility. There's going to be the push forward. Dennis, he's already down towards Struck. Almazer, a lot of damage has been dealt from both ends, but they get themselves 2 kills in favor of APEKS. A lot of damage has been lost, and Marceli's down to 12, Dennis down to 11, so 1 bullet each should be enough. And it is very doable here for FORZE. They also, well, actually their money is not that great, but they got rid of the top HP player. And it is, that nade, is it going, no, it's not going to go deep enough. It actually does almost kill Marcelius though on site, who is now down to 5 HP, but they have to hurry. They do have a kit. The time is ticking down, but Marcelius peeks in to save Dennis's life, and they clutch it out 2v2.
APEKS secure the first round of Mirage, and now we have the opportunity to talk about our partners over at Hellcase. If you use the promo codes Malta V and Malta V15, you can save more and grab what you deserve with Hellcase. The FORZE buy is stretched after a loss there. FaceCrack doesn't even have a rifle to work with, and there's no utility anymore other than 1 smoke and 2 flashbangs to defend against this APEKS onslaught. This is an opportunity for T rounds to be put on the board by APEKS.
It does look like they prefer the B site, where they've had at least their 1 piece of success. Nice one-way smoke coming in from Cross. Gets rid of ecstasy power. Opper is down. Almazer is close angles though. Does not expect him, but Gruss does double down and gets both of the kills. Bomb is in hand of APEKS, so they're heading towards that B bomb site. Gruss has the site on lockdown. 2 flashes on him and a flash and a molly on Truth as well. Dennis holds that mid flank, and it is save territory for FORZE.
Second round confirmed from the T's, as FORZE are probably going to be looking at a very minor buy in the next one. If anything, just pistols to support the 2 FAMASs, because that bank is drained, and APEKS now can work their way back onto the scoreboard and start building some cash of their own on the T side of Mirage. Truth creeping around the corner, does actually spot out Jerry, can convert the kill as well. 1 FAMAS found and 1 to go as Flit hides in Sandwich. He is starting to quake, but APEKS, they're backing away towards the end of this one.
Yeah, he's got, if he manages to pick up that AK, that would be pretty nice though. Needs to hurry to pick. Nah, he's just gonna stick with the FAMAS. A little bit unfortunate. Flit is actually only on 3 kills, who was their pretty much dominating factor in the previous maps as well. And he has started this map off pretty slowly towards that B site.
Jerry instead leading the way for FORZE with 12 kills on that CT side, doing the vast majority of the work. But APEKS, they have the weapon advantage here, and Jerry only has a USPS to work with in this round, so the odds of him carrying things on his own are near 0. He'll swing out mid, in fact, and just get information, but knows he can't sustain gunfights at that range with that weapon. There's a Zeus posted up in Palace that could find Truth in the late round, but this should be an easy conversion from APEKS.
Yeah, they should not drop too much. They went for a full A stack on FORZE, meaning the B site is at the moment completely open and ripe for the taking. FaceCrack tries to bait him in with the Zeus. Flit playing close angles, but Gruss does execute everyone right now. The peek out wide from FaceCrack's not going to get anything done, and that is 3 on the board for APEKS. They finally started to win some T-sided rounds. Of course, now the big boy buy round is going to come through, and FORZE are going to need to start make some plays themselves, because you don't want to lose too many rounds on this CT side.
Nixa Powers even had to drop down onto the Deagle because he couldn't afford an AWP, so they're trying to play the economic preservation game still with this round, even though it is a full gun round, or at least it's supposed to be. Their utility is very limited as well, and there's no head armor, which does show you how strained the CT side is, in conjunction with a lack of defuse kits. That could make any retake situation much more difficult than it needs to be.
It is going to be a quick execute it seems, but XZ Power was not ready enough to get that to get the shots in. And Jerry's gonna get spotted towards stairs. That is gonna be, unless they can chime in with a couple of very quick kills, it should be the round win for Apex there, with FORZE saving their weaponry. Yeah, they're gonna fall back. They have a little bit of utility still left. Decent enough weapons for the next round and armor on 3. They'll have a solid enough save round next round.
And they might even buy into the next round. Exapower's saving up for an AWP. Not quite sure whether their loss bonus is going to allow him to get one. It's going to be at maximum, but he might just end up buying a rifle anyway if they have 3 M4s saved forward from this round. So Apex are replying well on their T side and doing a good job at least of making the start of this first half competitive. They need 2 more victories to tie up the scoreline, and Exapower can just about justify a buy, but really he could get an AWP in the next round if FORZE ecoed in this one.
Yeah, I would prefer to see XZ Power on an op. If they're going to force up this round, then I think he should go for the glass cannon. But you really need that anchoring op. You need him to take the duel to Marcellus. You can't let him roam freely without any contention. And they are going to go for the glass cannon pick up on FORZE. This is the moment they want to hold the line. The pause was actually come out for Apex. They're going to consider what strategy they're going to hold. Maybe try and make that FORZE lineup sweat a little bit. Make them second guess their own instincts.
Always a viable strategy for Apex to be working with. And that glass cannon AWP, you have to say it's going to need some heavy impact at some point in time, potentially very quickly in this round, as Apex, they're going to try and smash into the B bomb site. That's why they called a timeout, to break the momentum and then explode out quickly. Instead, they've stalled the attack because there's been no CT utility yet. But now they go for the activation. Gruz is already out. He can overwhelm Flit. Almaza gets one back, but Gruz has done his job at finding the opening kill. The utility has slowed Apex down on the way into the B site. No doubt, and rotators have arrived as Marcellus finds Almaza. It's going to be a 3-on-3 retake, but Marcellus takes down the glass cannon AWP and brings it into the man advantage for Apex. Face cracks lined them both up, but that's a heroic flick from Marcellus. Truth shuts it down for FORZE, and Apex keep on scoring.
That was absolutely insane from Marcellus. How does he get the 180 shot connection as well? I mean, you saw exactly what he wanted to do right there. He tried to sneak past the enemy and see where all the T defenders were standing, but he got spotted towards short, and he had to pull the trigger. But what a mass. I mean, if Marcellus missed that shot, that would have been an easy round for FORZE right there. And all of a sudden, FORZE are pretty much in constant force buy territory. XC Power gets tagged up heavily while wielding that op without armor, so a nade does, well, one nade could potentially kill you if it would be perfectly placed. And everything, you know, it's a tough one to deal with enemy utility when you have no armor yourself.
5-on-5 still. As we approach the final minute of the round, Apex are beginning to focus in more intently on the B bomb site, and at the moment, FORZE are rotating players over to continue the defenses. Exapower is watching that close window, but his AWP is still glass cannon and could be overwhelmed by utility damage if it isn't careful. But these B rotations are coming through, and the shots are landing from the AWP. It's missed the secondary onto short, but actually the bomb looks to be going out underpass now. They want to explode through connector onto the A bomb site, and if Jerry goes down under wood, that would be a perfect opportunity now for Apex.
They do manage to chime one in, so they still have a man advantage, but Dennis gets rid of Almater, gets into CT, doesn't expect Flit to be still rotating through. They shut down Marcellus on the B site, and it's all on Truth. Bomb in hand, jumps up in the sky, but that is way too high, and FaceCrack has plenty of time to spray that face off. So it is going to be a round one by FORZE. Finally, they managed to take another one, and XC Power will be able to afford some armor behind that op.
certainly will, and they finally break the streak of APEKS as well. If they can finish off this half with a small streak of their own, they'd be on double digits heading into the second, but APEKS can still take the round advantage with a solid performance. They're taking mid control rather rapidly as well, as missed shots give it away for free. FaceCrack's not quite quick enough for the conversion, but Exapower is. Man advantage in FORZE's favor after these mid engagements, and Flit going aggressive, tries to bring it back, but actually Marcelius, he's taken down Exapower. Gruss finds Jerry. Flit now desperate to get something done in mid, but Gruss has ripped his head off and left Almaza alone in a 1-on-3.
Yeah, all of a sudden it looked nice with the openers, but they just get absolutely shredded to pieces. They know where Almaza is right now, and they have a pretty much nice little triangle looking into his direction. They're crossing towards side. Still dangerous though, but the flash is going to catch him completely. Truth finishes the job, and APEKS, they are en route to try and win this half on the T side of all things.
And that would be brilliant. It's been CT sides all day that have been the strength in this series. And if APEKS can start with a round advantage on this T side, well, it's already the best T performance that anyone has put out today in this matchup, and they would be looking to be the first side who actually won out their T side. Now, admittedly, it was both on CT heavy maps, but still the level of disaster that both sides befell on their T halves were just too great to manage in this map. And now APEKS, they look to walk into this A bomb site, which is more heavily defended, but only by the pistols.
Though Jerry is in a very nice little angle, does get spotted out by Gruss and Akez and will get shut down though before he gets anything done. They're gonna push forward, and Gruss is literally just trying to get himself some nice easy frags. He's looking up for a fourth, and that is 4 kills for Gruss, opening up that entire A site, mid and B short at the same time, up on 16 kills on the T side of Mirage, and the last round of the half coming through, so everyone's going for the full buy.
Well, it has been as balanced as it could be on the first half of Mirage. 7 apiece, but one team has to get that ever elusive 1 round advantage here. Who will it be at the end of this full gun round? APEKS are trying to take mid control to make sure it will be them, but it's actually Exapower, FaceCrack declining to aggress in mid as Exapower finds the kill on the A bomb site. Dennis can't punish Flit, and it's the man advantage to the CT side.
Kinda interesting to go for the dry peek. Same here with FaceCrack. He loves going way too aggressive, but he has a lot of extra respect after that 1v4, of course. Earlier to get FORZE to at least 7 rounds. It is going to be a mid peak towards connector. Ecstasy Power is up on top of PT boxes. Is going to go for the repeat, but this time Gruss is ready with the op. He's on 2 kills himself. 2 versus 3. They have bomb control. A is reasonably open, but they do need to be careful. Flit does shut down Gruss, and it is all on Dennis. No bomb available. It is next to connector, and he's going to rotate towards B. But it is actually expected, it seems, by Flit. Or does he expect him to Dennis to be this close?
I think Flit's listening for the apartments, but actually he does anticipate it. Turns around and lands both of those shots. It is the 1 round advantage going over to the FORZE side as they switch on to the T side of things that they've struggled with so far today. Either side fighting from about as a balanced position as it could be to try and claim victory. But perhaps something that's worrying for the APEKS side is that all of their frags are coming from seemingly these top 2 players. 18 for Gruss and 11 on Martellius, as it is sort of the core 3 leading the way over on that FORZE side with FaceCrack, Jerry and Exapower.
It is gonna be a tough one for FORZE. Let's see, maybe they actually found the answer for their terrible T side from the previous maps. I mean, they just didn't play off each other is pretty much the problem that they had. They need to group up or at least duo up when they go for pushes so that you have that refrag potential and not just go for the dry peaks. And I'm looking at you, Flit. You need to also start waking up here. Same for Akaz on APEKS. They managed to get themselves 7 rounds, but he's only on 3 kills himself. A couple of the players are still asleep, but luckily FaZe Crack is awake and Marcelius has been awake throughout the entire series.
Well, now the halves have been switched and we are about to get the final stages of our first daily quarterfinal underway. The pistol round between FORZE and APEKS to determine who takes the advantage, and the odds from our partners over at LootBet. What? Those odds are better for FORZE than they were at the start of the map. That is very interesting, and clearly they have far more faith in the FORZE T side than I do.
Yep, but so far we have been bamboozled multiple times by the odds this series, especially on that first map. I definitely did not expect them to be able to come back on that CT side defense. Marcelius, again, the dualies. Maybe I should just main the dualies these days. But it is going to be FORZE getting absolutely annihilated. They run into a B stack and they have nothing that they can do.
Well, there we are then. It's all tied up at the end of the pistol, and those odds, I'm very confused as to why they were so much in FORZE's favor. All the APEKS bettors might just be laughing their heads off, as even just as a value, that 4.0 odds is amazing, considering it was basically even at the end of the first half. And now they've won the CT pistol as well. They might just start the second half with a dominant tear.
That is really disastrous. I mean, not even dropping a single player. Not that it matters too much. Well, the extra little bit of 300 money is pretty decent. They're going to go for the straight out A rush underneath plateau. Dennis can't really get too much done without any backup from his teammates. But there's the peak wide coming in. They will get the bomb plant, so they got what they came for. Got a kill, got the bomb plant. That's all they wanted in this round on FORZE.
Yeah, they got the bonus cash they were looking for that's going to activate the maximum potential of their full buy in the next round. And APEKS, if they can get through it, they'll have a healthy streak of rounds built up at the start of this CT side if they can win this first full gun round. But that is the big if. FORZE are desperate to fight back for another tied scoreline and to pull away themselves on the T side here. We will have to see what on earth is going to occur. It's definitely set to be as competitive as possible. And what is this buy from APEKS? A P90 still held forward and the MP9 as well, supporting 2 FAMASs. They don't have the firepower that FORZE have brought into this round.
Yeah, but everyone knows that the P90 is the superior weaponry. Marcelius is going to show us exactly how it works. Close range towards ramp is going to peek out wide, gets one, but does not expect the second to be there. But they double down and managed to upgrade one of their SMGs to an AK. Great job towards the ramp area, and a man advantage coming through. Great, massive flash in, but Dennis completely whiffs the first spray. For some reason, FaZe Crack decides to stand out in the open, well flashed, and it is Flit down to 24 HP with XSE power on 100. The last 2 remaining players of FORZE, and this is looking like their entire dream is collapsing of making it to the semi-finals.
Could just be the case. You'd hate to see it happen, and with 50 seconds left, I don't think FORZE are going to try and save. You never see teams really go for it with this much time left on the clock. So Exapower's AWP is having a look in the A bomb site. It is starting to creep forward as well, but surely he's just looking for 1 kill here and then the retreat as time is being eaten away. They might aggress into him. They drop the bomb and remove the AWP, and now Flit has the only rifle that FORZE could save into the next one.
That was a weird call. If you're gonna save, at least save the AWP, not save an AK on a dude that's down 24 on. Yeah, well, that was a weird call. And they give away a free AWP as well towards the boys at APEKS. Plus, I think there's probably another AK towards ramp as well if they want to get another upgrade for themselves. A very good free round here for APEKS. that bank account pretty massive, and they will be able to drop that up to Marcelius, who, well, you played with the P90 last round. The buy on FORZE is going to be a little bit lackluster. Actually, they're going to full force on Almazer because, well, Flit doesn't have a buy next round, but this is getting really weird.
They keep making weird economic decisions like this, then they could be in serious trouble throughout the remainder of the map. They're trying to contact play into the A bomb site at the moment. However, he are going to be walking into the weaker defended site. It is Dennis who has to do the majority of the work with his AK here. Looks for a first kill and gets it. That's a rifle drop. Gets a second too before falling. Flit will eventually clean him up, but it's a man advantage for APEKS on this retake. Swings out goes AKES, but he can't deny the plant. Now it's a 3 versus 3 scenario. The flash comes in from CT and Truth is able to pick up the kill. Nades raining into deep sight now as well. Flit and Exapower under pressure.
It is very doable right now. Unfortunately, Exapower does not really. Oh my God, Flit! I just want to say Exapower doesn't have any armor, but it doesn't actually matter at all. The molly going to the wrong position of Flit on top of the box on side triple, and will be able to disengage. A round victory there for FORZE with a shoddy buy at best. And we'll even finish off Truth. Full team wipe coming in. They will have another buy round APEKS, but what a massive round from Flit.
Very big indeed, and it's a huge time for him to show up as well. Star player so far in the series and a massive impactful quad kill to secure his team a T-side round. They're one away from tying up the scoreline now, and the CT buy would be wrecked if FORZE can win this round. It's still decent now, though, so FORZE still have work before them.
It is going to be an aggressive op coming in from Marcelius. Jerry might actually expect it. I think he might have heard the scope. He was already past the angle. It is going to be Gruss pushing forward, and Jerry catches him off guard. Almazer peeks in from deeper, and they immediately execute onto that B side. It is already lost. Truth and Dennis on that forced save coming in, and a massive turn of events for FORZE. Randomly started popping heads on their T side, finally awoken, and they are gonna tie this map up.
10 apiece. They don't want to hunt the rifles down because their economy isn't in a dream spot either. They'd rather make sure they get through this round with all 5 alive, and Almost has actually punished Truth, who was trying to make his way on the sneaky flank in CT. So now it's just Dennis's rifle that can be brought forward into the upcoming round. This one is going to be a very tough one for APEKS to utilize. I don't think they should be buying around this M4 per se. Really, this just has to be the eco for my money.
Yeah, it's I mean, they can't force anything. Like, if AKES doesn't buy anything, they could buy an op next round. I mean, AKES is on 5 kills so far anyway, so just let him be that eco player. You need that op picked up on Marcelius. That is very crucial at this point. They will pause on FORZE though, but they're pretty much going to run into. They should have a free round right now, unless APEKS actually make a full commitment or FORZE make a complete oopsie daisy.
I mean, you can't afford to be losing control of this upcoming round if you're the FORZE side. It's been difficult for them on T sides all day anyway, and well, if they lose out to an eco from APEKS now, that would be economic relief granted to the CT side. That would be the round lead recaptured by APEKS, and it would be a full buy that they could bring forward into the next round. FORZE, they need this one. It is going to be the hard eco coming through from APEKS, and FORZE really should be able to convert this one easily, and their primary thoughts should be in the follow-up round.
It is going to be a big stack towards that A site. They have been gamble stacking most of the game pretty much. Dennis is going to be playing a long range with that M4 and hope that his teammates can be the distracting factor so that FORZE runs into a blender. But FORZE, they're not going to hurry this one up. They're going to just play this one out passively, try and slowly but surely creep their way around the map and cut off any positions that APEKS might be in.
Russ blind and eventually taken down by Jerry as he's looking the wrong way on the boost. It is a completely stacked A-bomb site here, and they should be aware of this now. FORZE, as the pistols rush into Jerry, he cleans up another 2 kills for himself. That rifle in the hands of Dennis is still lurking in CT, but the bomb is going to go down for free on the B site here because Facecrack has just cleared it out. He knows it's wide open, and as Jerry finds Marcelius, Dennis might not even want to move if he wants to save this rifle.
Yeah, it's a very methodical round coming out from FORZE. He does know that there's a player in connector though, so that is a possible gun that he can drop. Creeping up forward, will get rid of Flit, and that gives away the last player's position. He knows Jerry's probably still towards ramp, but Jerry's going to win that duel, and Jerry gets himself the eco ace.
A nice little bit of statistical padding for him, and that puts him far and away the top fragger on his squad. But this is the real task for FORZE to get through now. APEKS, they're bringing out the full buy. It doesn't have an AWP available, and there's only 1 kit in the hands of AKES as well, so he needs to make sure that he's positioned on the correct bomb site and doesn't get picked off, isolated before an execute comes through.
Is going to be a decent buy. Gruss with the AUG this round, but no op on Marcelli is a pretty big problem here for the side of APEKS. They have 1 kit on them and 5 body armors, no Kevlar, decent amount of utility still left, but FORZE, they haven't really expended any utility. Now they're finally going to start raining out utility through mid, long range, fight won by Marcelius. And they're doubling up in mid. Flit. Oh. Versus Truth. Does not expect Truth to be that close. XC Power peeks out wide. Will get Truth from behind, but Marcelius chimes in with a second. And a very decent shot at that round. Gruss is ready and waiting for Almeza. And Jerry with the AK in hand. Bomb on his back. It's... he has a chance, especially now with the kill onto Marcelius, because for instance the A site is completely the rotations are so far away that Dennis is all on his own. Dennis has been left on that A site pretty much every round so far.
He's been doing a fairly decent job of holding on, even in that pistol round that FORZE managed to win. He did get a double before dropping from CT, and that's all you can really ask for from your anchor player. With 15 seconds left, Jerry's not contesting this round. He can save an AWP, which is definitely a valuable addition. That allows somebody else to drop Flit over a weapon. This T-side bank is still very healthy indeed. And APEKS, they need to streak rounds together if they want to firmly take control of their half. But both sides only need 5 for victory. There are very few rounds remaining yet to be played, and this quarter-final is going to come down to the wire.
Will this be an overtime series? It has been a while since I've actually been able to cast an overtime, so I am very anxious to see if this will be FORZE winning. If they win this one, then APEKS are broke. If APEKS win this one, then FORZE probably still have like 2 more buys. So this is pretty do or die, and that is Marcelius who's gonna die. Drops down into the grave, and Dennis on towards that A site. He is actually not going to be contested here on top, which would be perfect because he does spot out Facecrack going for the bomb plant. He's waiting for as long as he possibly can. Peeks out wide, gets Almazer as well. A double up coming in from Dennis. Flit in connector is going to get shut down by Gruss. Bomb is stuck on site. They know where the last 2 players have to come from. And that is going to be XC Power with the op trying to make a hero play, but whips the shot onto Dennis, tries to disengage through the smoke, but just gets barraged with bullets. And Dennis walks through, gets the headshot in with the USP, and that is a very clean round for APEKS. Only losing Marcelius, who was the first one to actually fall.
And FORZE giving everyone a lesson of why you need a Palace player if you're going to attack the A-bomb site. Nobody peeks atop scaffolding, and Dennis just destroys the APEKS attack. He dismantles the bomb carrier and the supporting rifler, and in a round where FORZE found the opening kill rather quickly, APEKS recovered amazingly. It looks like FORZE might want to go quickly into A yet again. As they position outside the site, it's just Truth here this time, as it's heavy mispresence coming out from APEKS instead. They're going to need to rotate quickly into the bomb site again.
Yeah, this time it is not Dennis holding the site. It is going to be Truth close range. They get the flash, and FaceCrack was blinded, but Truth does not get the spray connection. And FaceCrack's trying to jump over. Takes a nade for his troubles. Will get the bomb plant down. No spray to try and drop it either. They will go into their post-plant positions, but Dennis is flanking Palace. And does Jerry expect this flank to come through?
I don't think so. His team have control of ramp, so they don't expect anybody to be on this long flank. Now, Dennis can really deal damage. Another massive double kill for the Swedish veteran as he dumps utility towards the ramp as well. That's going to lock out these two T-side players as Flip finds a kill. Time's ticking down. The defuse must be found by APEKS, and the connector player, FaceCrack, might have just bailed out his side. There's no time for the defuse, so Dennis finds the last kill. Quad kill in the round, but it's still all tied up by FORZE.
He gets a quad kill. They do a lot of damage. They have to. With the damage that they've dealt, I do think that they should force up, especially with Dennis saving his rifle there. He actually peeks right into Jerry's face before he takes him down. But unfortunately, they did not expect the connector player to come through. And they will lose that round. 12-12. This game is absolutely on a needle right there. It is so close, so sharp between both sides. And this is going to be the full investment on both sides as well. So this is really a do or die round, because the winner of this will probably push it forward towards 14-12.
You should have to imagine that to be the case. It's more likely to be FORZE that push 14-12 with a victory due to the nature of the T-side economy. Just giving them more benefits. If they lose out in this round, they're more likely to buy up in the next one. So APEKS, with a loss here, their economy would be devastated. They have 3 players on 0 and 0 players above $300. They are in an economic nightmare with their current cash available, and FORZE are going to try and crack straight into this B-bomb site.
They do have mollies, and APEKS is boosted up. Close range. That's going to be the molly toss. Is a little bit deep. It seems the molly does get extinguished and the rush forward. He actually scopes out, but on site, that's going to be probably a nice little take there from FORZE, with Flit chiming in as well into APEKS. It's a 2 versus 2. Bomb is dropped on site, but they don't expect Flit to be that far up towards bench. Is gonna get some help from XSE Power, and FORZE 13-12 in the lead right now, and the money for APEKS is in tatters.
Certainly is. This is not the position the primarily Norwegian squad wanted to find themselves in, despite heroic individual efforts from Gruz and Dennis. They are falling behind in their last map of the day. It's a free B-bomb site from FORZE as well. No immediate contention from APEKS in this eco. They're only looking for damage even in the round, but these MAC-10s, they're hunting for that bonus cash as well. APEKS gets a kill at minimum, but he won't be able to swap to the Deagle and find any more. Truth, if he could find one, maybe that's a benefit towards the end of the round. But FORZE, they are going to be the team taking the 2-round advantage, reaching 14 first, and being the side with the first opportunity to convert series point.
This the Apex does have an decent enough buy, but Marcelius has been off the op for multiple rounds now. And it does really show he has started to stagnate instead of accelerate his kills. FORZE are not going for the full upgrade of those two Mac 10s though, so they definitely do have a shot at taking down these weak SMGs at the start of the round. There's going to be jump in from Truth. Actually, APEKS chimes in with the double and he shuts them down, saves Truth's life in mid, and a massive play coming in from APEKS.
The last 3 rounds consecutively, I believe, APEKS are just stacked up mid, trying to hold on to it, other than in the pistol. And this time it finally works out as FORZE look for mid control. The early presence yields the necessary kills they were looking for. What a time for the IG out of APEKS to arrive in the server and win a man advantage in the CT's favor. 3-on-4 scenario. FORZE are going to be targeting this A bomb site, but there are 4 riflers stacked in it currently, but they are also slowly rotating out.
Yeah, they're gonna have to face up against Dennis, who has been phenomenal on the CT side so far. Has had multiple hero kill rounds. Is gonna head towards a lower plateau, and the rotations from B are pretty far away. But it is gonna be a straight 3 versus 3 take with very little utility left on both sides for the fight. It is gonna be a 1-for-1 trade. However, look how far Almazer is pushed up. They don't expect Dennis to be down below, and Dennis shuts down Flit, but Almazer is now stuck in sandwich, taken down by Marcelius, who's looking for that up. Finally, he gets the big green gun back in his hands. Oh, he's missed that beauty. And it is going to be a very important round again between these two sides, because the money is, well, as always, pretty much this series looking absolutely disastrous.
It's really coming down to the wire as we head into round number 28 of regulation time. 4 AKs, 1 AWP in the hands of FORZE against 4 M4s and 1 AWP in the hands of APEKS. The only thing separating these two sides is utility, and it ever so slightly favors the side of APEKS. If there was a time they needed to stand tall and defend against the FORZE side, it would be now. FORZE with a loss would have an empty bank, and APEKS would have the opportunity to secure map point against them. Now, FORZE, this is their opportunity to try and convert their advantage and give themselves 2 opportunities to close out the series.
But it's all a bait towards that B side. They throw smokes from the T-spawn. It does mean that the utility is very lackluster. They've got 1 smoke and 5 flashes with a molly on the side of FORZE. If they're not going to engage behind this or quickly engage on the other side, it does give a lot of intel away, because they can just rotate back, and that entire set nade strat from them has amounted to nothing. Well, I'm saying has amounted to nothing. It did completely empty out the utility of APEKS's defense as well.
That is where you're correct. Truth has got the only smoke on this A bomb site at the moment. Dennis has a HE available, but if he dumps that in ramp, it's only going to damage 1 player, and they're creeping in connector at the moment. FORZE, they have just walked all the way in completely silently, and now they have a real opportunity to smash into this A bomb site. Truth is not looking the right way. He gets 1 tap. Dennis in CT is just focused on not showing himself as he actually gets Molotoved out. Flick can convert the kill, and APEKS, they get baited out by the B setup, but now they save their 3 rifles on the B bomb site as FORZE secure series point for the first time in this quarterfinal.
That is absolutely ridiculous. They didn't even consider moving a player away from that B bomb site. They just pretty much went for the full gamble sack, and the positioning that they had, at least if you're going to do that, have one player towards short, have one player checking out what this FORZE lineup is doing. They had literally no info gain, no intel whatsoever, and you can see the player in connector. He just got completely blindsided. The player in Sandwich got completely blindsided because he never expected them to push connector and shoot him from behind.
Well, Gruz can drop an M4 to either Truth or Dennis. Most likely to be Dennis, who's the recipient of that weapon. And that from Flit. Just this double entry. It's fairly easy work. He doesn't have the most difficult kills to find there. And APEKS calling a timeout now. They need to pull together 2 consecutively in order to pull out a victory, and they might even go for a gamble stack. It would be a huge gamble to work with, but at this point in time, what other option do they have?
Yeah, they need to make something happen. They do have enough weapons and utility to defend, though, but APEKS, they need to try and drag this one on to OT. Two more map series points rounds, actually, for APEKS to try and overcome this burden. FORZE, they just need one more, and then they're finally in the semi-finals after what is absolutely an amazing first quarterfinals. A lot closer than I would have initially expected them to have.
100%, and FaceCrack has found the opening kill on short. Now APEKS are sprinting over to that B bomb site as they know Gruz is alone, but he's found the headshot on the short player, aggressing into apartments, though that's not going to work out. Truth has arrived at close range with an MP9, but he's been taken down as well, and FORZE, now all they have to do is defend this bomb against 2 APEKS players, and they are your first confirmed semi-finalists of the day. The utility misplaced by APEKS through the smoke. It can't cover enough, and Jerry and Flit find the AK headshots. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to FORZE. They are today's first confirmed semi-finalists.
Yeah, that was a pretty